and that should handle everything. All right, say something.
Testing,
Hi.
testing. 1, 2,
There we go.
3.
Yeah, we're good. We're back.
This
We're
is
back.
me now.
This is me
Now.
now.
That's our way. That's our way of doing the voice ID today. This is me now. This is me now. This is me now.
This is me now.
When I was a little girl, when someone asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, my answer was always in love.
This is me now. This is me now.
He walked out in the gray light and stood, and he saw for a brief moment the absolute truth of the world. The cold, relentless circling of the intestate earth. Darkness implacable. The blind dogs of the sun in their running. The crushing black vacuum of the universe. And somewhere 200 animals trembling like ground foxes in their cover. Borrowed time and borrowed world and borrowed eyes with which to sorrow it.
And lo, for the earth was empty of form, and void, and darkness was all over the face of the deep, and we said, look at that fucker dance.
Welcome to Heat Death of the Universe, a podcast just looking for love in all the wrong places. And it's just so hard to find a good man these days, what with all the incels and toxic manlets. Oh, never mind. There's my big-dicked sad boy celebuzaddy Ben Affleck at our 73 mansions, filled with more money than the good Lord Jesus H. Christensen himself. So, yeah, never mind. It's all good. Sorry. It is 12:17 p.m. Saturday afternoon, February 17th. KST in Korea time. Year of our Puerto Rican Queen 2024. This is Josh. Name change, aka J-Lo income bracket, aka Mr. Airplane, aka J-Tree National Park Ranger, aka Mr. The nickname count is too damn high. To introduce our special guest this week, I'll now pass the talking stick to my distant southeast to podcaster in arms, currently stockpiling hummingbirds and rose petals behind the Hollywood signs H in preparation for the future love apocalypse's love drought, of course, is Tim. More Burton, less Tebow Buechner.
I liked the subtle preparation H reference there. I did appreciate that. I'm a long time
So subtle, it's almost like I didn't plan it.
you did not mean. Oh, okay. Well, it was pretty good. But I have been a long time hemorrhoid fearer, hemorrhoid respecter, so much so that like I started taking fiber supplements in my early 20s, I'll say.
You can never have enough fiber. I'm being dead serious. I'm obsessed with that shit.
Yeah. I would highly recommend it.
You gotta keep yourself regular.
On
Yes.
incline. I appreciate that. More and more as you continue to collect them. And as we collect members of the podcast this evening, Josh, as we have one more than usual, but also different. I don't know. We are joined by a fellow nickname aficionado, De La Boots, Mr. Boots Too Damn Big, ADLT himself, Adrian DeLaTorre,
Yes,
Mr. Too Damn Never Seen It, the king of vanity careers.
I'm
Adrian
also
DeLaTorre, how you doing tonight?
good, and just so you know, I'm also the ex-vice president of the Barbara Hershey fan club. But ask me about that later. Good to be here, guys. Good to be here. Good to be here on a Friday/Saturday. Also coming from the future, so here we go.
Yeah.
Yes, the spherical Earth plays no tricks. I'll also say, so now it's like the SNL host thing, Third Timers Club, joining us as a resident, we'll say general film expert,
Yes.
cinema freak,
General counsel.
Yeah. And it's nice.
Specifically, so far, resident bad movie expert.
It's nice the way it aligns right now. He's the third time guest, and that's also equally the number of times that Adrian has had sex with a woman. So
That's true.
congratulations.
Yeah. Third time's a charm.
3 times. Yes. Once he successfully did it, he was like, that's enough. I'm done. Don't need to continue on this ever again.
3 more times and I get a set of steak knives, apparently. But so I'm ready for that.
More like mistake knives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
making a mistake. Women are gross. None of us want to touch them. They are disgusting.
I thought you were referencing more progeny there, but it could work both ways.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, but before we get into to this weird ass quote unquote movie, this movie deserves to be put in scare quotes more than any other, I would say. Before that, though, partly because this movie is about an hour long runtime, and the plot is fairly paper thin.
Yeah.
And because there's a dearth of kind of funny headlines. I mean, there's always something, I guess. But point being, we're gonna run through a couple quick hits.
I like that.
Well, okay, but before we do that, speaking of ran through, I was going to try to not do it, but it just, I got something today that was just too far to not. When we talk about the Red Scare Scourge. What do you call it? Red Scare Scourge up or whatever?
The Red Scare Scrounge Up is what I was saying.
Scrounge up,
but
that's
yeah.
it. Yes.
Yeah, go for
Kachin,
it. Fill us in.
you said you were doing some deep dive on her back catalog of terrible tweets. They did release they did not release a podcast. But luckily because I do not pay them money for their terrible thing, I have a bootleg RSS feed that decided to nicely upload Anna on the Perfume Nationalist, which I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the Perfume Nationalist is way fucking worse than even them when it comes to just outright being racist. I mean, he started out with the name being Perfume Nationalist as if it's a joke, but he's just a fucking fascist Nazi man who's obsessed with perfumes. It's like literally the name is just on the nose.
Well, that's so perfect for anyone Red Scare adjacent.
Yes,
And
he's like, yeah. Go ahead.
Is he? I mean, is he of the non-straight variety?
Yes,
as well?
of course he is.
Does this all align perfectly with Red Scare fans?
Well, yeah. I mean, his show comes from him being a Red Scare fan. He started doing a podcast inspired by the Red Scare, basically. Either way, there was also, speaking in the same context, there was Dasha on Perfect Guy Life, Sam Hyde's podcast. That was interesting because Dasha was like actually had energy and was like making jokes and talking and stuff. So it's like,
AKA
oh,
cocaine.
yeah, exactly. But it's like hanging out with Sam, who acts fucking insane like that too. She just like matched their energy. So it's like, oh, okay. So the like, I'm dying, I'm starving myself to death energy of the other show is just again a put on. Where you're just matching the energy of the person with you. Anna went a little bit viral with an insanely racist tweet just a couple days ago that got a nice dunk on from Noah Colin. And then on the Perfume Nationalist special that just came on, she did some increasingly racist. So what I do have to say is that, they were talking about the numbers. They were talking about the money, how much money they're making on Perfect Guy Life. They bleeped it out when Dasha mentioned how much money they actually make. But I think there might be an issue at the Kasha home and rent might be due because it feels like she's intentionally turning up the racism to try to, scare up some attention in the attention economy. I think Red Scare might be
teal
not doing
bucks
this.
are running dry.
Yeah.
It's she needs her like quarterly everybody look at me being a fucking craven dipshit and then she gets her teal check.
Right. Because on the Perfume Nationalist, and you'll appreciate this, and this is why, like I said, I couldn't just let it go because I was going to just not mention any of this, but I have to. On the Perfume Nationalist, they went
I was
through...
going to go over this next time, but it's too late. Let's go.
yes. They were doing like a let's go through all of these perfumes throughout the time period, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then afterwards, then they started reviewing a film or whatever, and they were reviewing films or just basically like the career and history of Leni Riefenstahl. And at one point, Anna is like basically glowing and being so proud of being almost birthday twins with Leni Riefenstahl, which is just, again, like I said, it's just, you are just brazenly trying to court like the most fascist right-wing freaks possible by being like, oh, I'm so happy that I'm almost birthday twins with Leni Riefenstahl. She's such a girl boss. Slay. Like, Jesus Christ.
I've got plenty more to say about these dumb fucking whores, but
Yes.
I'm going to save it for another episode because we should probably move along.
Wait, are you saying that someone who hung out with Sam Hyde is possibly racist? Get out of here. I don't believe that at
No,
all.
I'm saying someone literally is saying that they're like happy to be spoken in the same breath as Leni Riefenstahl.
Right.
Like that's the level of racist that they are. Like, Jesus Christ.
That's
I was like,
next level.
this is, yeah.
That
They're
elevates the
basically-
racism, you know what I mean? A little
They're
bit.
basically 12-year-old little boy edgelords trapped in the emaciated bodies of fucking layabout bohemians or whatever they call themselves nowadays. And they pretend to like Christianity or whatever the fuck. Just everything about them sucks. I hate them more and more the more I learn about
At
them.
what point?
But-
At what point do they join Young Republicans? Is that a career path? You know, they go.
It would be, I don't know.
That's
their
like the
whole-
corrective path. That's
Oh.
like
Their whole-
after I get done being a Nazi on the internet, I like straighten up and I'm gonna get my life together by joining the Young Republicans.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
They're just grifters.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
but okay. That's the scrounge up for this week.
Yes.
Surely we will revisit the scrounge up next
Surely.
week. And yeah, I'll go off a little bit harder then, but I feel like we could get, it could spiral out into a whole
Like I
thing.
said,
but
I wanted to just let it go, but the Leni Riefenstahl thing was just too far.
fair enough. Well, speaking of two hateable people, some cops had a funny, horribly dangerous incident where I guess no one actually was hurt, but so
By the grace
and-
of non-existent God, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, actually, I was reading. Well, I'll say once I set up the premise here a little bit more, but basically, these two cops were on like some sort of routine sort of call. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter even what it was for exactly. And the cop who was like over by their cop car, and like his partner was like the one like talking to whoever and like, you know, I don't know, fucking writing a ticket, taking notes, whatever she was doing. Anyway, the guy who was like more by the car, he gets spooked by the terrifying sound of an acorn dropping and hitting the squad car, and immediately does a triple barrel roll. You can see all of this on the body cam footage. Triple barrel roll in the street, poorly executed barrel roll, I'll say, as a barrel rolling expert, and just unloads his clip in like 3 seconds, like at the fucking car that a handcuffed suspect is inside of, along with someone else. And then he starts like limping as if he's been like shot. Later in the like deposition, his partner says that the only way I could describe it is that he looked like a baby giraffe trying to walk for the first time. I was like, that's the only way you can describe it. But he's like, officer down, officer down. He hasn't been hit by anything because an acorn fell, and that's
Maybe
all that
the acorn hit him in the leg. I don't know. How loud was this acorn that it caused him to spook like that?
You can't hear it on the video,
Right, okay.
So it couldn't have been that loud. And like one of the funnier things too is in the transcripts of, like, you know, after the fact when they're being kind of internally investigated.
Yeah.
You know, spoiler alert, nothing bad happens to these fucking cops for this incident. Well, the one was, it was basically like, it was deemed not totally
objectively
cool.
reasonable. Was the official?
Right,
yeah, I have it.
Get the right wording.
The
there, it's pretty
superiors
good.
ultimately determined that his use of force was not objectively reasonable. Which is
But who was
putting
it
it
objectively
fucking
reasonable
lightly.
for?
Yeah.
It was
Wow.
objectively reasonable for his partner to, upon just hearing the words "shots fired," after having heard no shots fired, to then also turn and fire at the same target and unload her entire clip.
Mm-hmm.
And like, more shots were fired. It wasn't just emptying of 2 clips. It was like these people were just like cosplaying like they were in an action movie, but they were in like a quiet, like suburban neighborhood. It looked like, at least.
Did anybody say, nuts to this?
Not that it matters where the fuck they are, honestly,
Yeah.
but it's like, it's, you know, even more so here. It's like the likelihood. Anyway, it was just like amazingly stupid. And I recommend watching the videos, because especially from the perspective of the guy who's like get this whole thing started, because you just hear his like heavy breathing, and he's like, and then his partner's like, "Are you okay?" This is like a solid minute after he claims to have been shot, and he's like, "I don't know." You don't know?
Yeah.
You don't know if you've been shot or
I got
not?
hit by an acorn. I don't know.
I don't know.
And
yeah.
then when in the transcript, do you have it pulled up? I don't have that.
I have
that
some of
actual
it.
part
I have
pulled
some
up.
of it.
Do you have when they
article.
tell him that the acorn, like that it was an acorn after all, and he's like, it's really funny the way that's written out. I think I got it in our chat here. Let me pull it up.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the other thing was that, you know, props to small-time podcaster Will Menaker. The podcast is CHAPO. Yeah, he tweeted this out, and his sort of like quote tweet was actually kind of funny too, and reminded me of something that connects back into I believe one of the other 2 episodes Adrian was on, where you brought up Viper.
Oh yeah.
Tim.
I don't think
So-
Adrian was on that one, but yes.
Oh, okay.
All right, yeah.
But well, I also wanted to mention that ever since you told me, I was not familiar with Viper, and especially the
One of the most prolific rappers in the game.
I don't remember the title of the song, the crack song.
Yeah. Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. Yeah.
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. The
Y'all
song
cowards
is
don't
currently
even smoke crack.
currently stuck in my head and gets stuck in my head like once a day.
It's amazing.
Now.
It's art.
And I appreciate it.
Some people try to say that hip hop and rap music is not, but I mean, listen to that song and tell me it's not art.
Well, Will's lead into this whole dipshit cop fiasco that was, or maybe just his.
This was
his
a good
little
one.
Commentary was, it's a shame Viper turned out to be a monster because his album Cops Can't Read gets more relevant by the day.
Yes.
This is the assailant,
but
by
it's
the
also
way.
like that is yes, saber-toothed squirrel. Yeah.
I mean, that's scary shit.
Yeah.
Now I get it. I take back everything.
It was
I said.
Scrat.
The thing about it is that like it's weird. It's weird to me to have people again. Whatever Will is, that's his thing. But the people who kind of like gentrify like rap music and hip hop and stuff, and be like, it's a shame the Viper turned out to be a monster. It's like, man, most of his songs were about being a monster. If you like the whole point.
Tell me the name of that one that you mentioned before. Do you remember it?
God, it was like I literally have someone trapped in my basement and I'm going to
you
kill
ain't
them.
ever gonna you'll never believe or something.
Yeah, you'll never believe in 5 years when you find out you'll never believe when you find out that I've had someone locked in my basement for 5 years. That was like the name of the song.
What was the
and
name
then it
of,
was like, yeah, it's true.
What was the name of the band OJ book? If I Had Done It.
Yeah,
Right.
If I had done, I'm not saying I did it, but if I had done
these
it.
guys who get into that stuff and they think it's funny online. They get into like drill rap and they think like, oh, it's cool that these guys talk about this stuff. And it's like, no, man, they really do this shit. They are not like you where it's just a joke and they are doing it because it makes money. Like there are some people, very few, who actually do this shit for real and then make songs or art or whatever about it. And it's like legit. It's not a fucking like a put on. It's not a character,
Yeah.
Wesley Willis was not an irony, bro.
No, he was not.
Yeah. Okay, so here it is.
Because
this is just the lead in to the so this person whatever, I guess, shout out at Ford Fisher. I don't know who that is exactly. Anyway,
yeah, sure.
They say
fish for Fords.
Acorn. Pages 13 and 14 of the investigative report detail the moment that Deputy Hernandez learned that he had gotten into a shootout with an acorn. And so here's the actual transcript. Basically.
I found this, yes.
Deputy Hernandez asked, "Acorn?" Investigator Hogan answered, "Acorn." Investigator Henderson asked Deputy Hernandez if he thought it was possible that the noise he heard, which he had interpreted as a gunshot from a suppressed firearm, was actually the noise of an acorn striking the roof of his patrol vehicle next to him. Deputy Hernandez answered, "I'm not going to say no, because I mean that's... But what I..." 10-second pause in speaking. "What I heard..." 3-second pause in speaking. Sounded almost like 12-second pause in speaking. "What I heard sounded what I think would be louder than an acorn hitting the roof of the car. But there's obviously an acorn hitting the roof of the car." At least he's reached the stage of acceptance pretty quick there.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is what's pretty good here is okay. So I was trying to look around and find an article because I had known that I had heard something about what the actual beef was that they had the guy detained for. So I did find it. I did find it, and Marquez Jackson, which like it feels bad. I probably shouldn't name the poor guy. He didn't really do it. He might have done something wrong, but as far as all of this is concerned,
oh man, I think they're gonna get a successful lawsuit going on their hands, man. So.
Sure, yeah, for sure. But they were being detained for stealing a car and sending threatening messages to his girlfriend, which, like, when you read that, you know...
so that's the girlfriend that they must be talking to in the video. Okay.
The cop and the body cam footage is talking to the girlfriend about the man who's... And in one of these threatening messages, the police... Now, mind you, this is the ragtag group of police who thought the acorn was a shot fired, had identified...
The acorn duo, if you will.
Had it identified in one of the images and it says this, and it just like read it exactly what it says. When it was an image of a pistol silencer. Now, imagine, if you will, these fucking idiots and what extrapolation that they made, where they're not saying a pistol with a silencer on it, which also is already wrong because it's not called a silencer, it's called a suppression. It's called a suppressor, right? That's like the technical term for it. So if you're really trying to do cop lingo, you would call it that. Like,
right, they're in like
suppressor.
they're in adolescent video game head mode. Yeah.
But the idea that what they were looking at was a picture of something, and what they could only identify it was only the silencer by itself. So they weren't even trying to be like, oh, it was a pistol with a silencer on it. No. So it was like a tube of chapstick. You know what I mean? It was just like anything that was like...
Wait, was it determined what it really was in this article?
It does not say. It does not say.
I was going to say, was it like a big black dildo? Just,
it could be.
With this, with like not to scale, like with nothing to compare it next to.
Yeah, but yeah, like there's
That's
absolutely
the funniest thing I can think of off the top of my head.
There's absolutely no way that it was actually a silencer, right? Like it was just
what a
something.
Hilarious way to send a threatening picture, like just the suppression device.
Yeah.
Not the gun itself. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, I have this. I keep that thing on me, and it's just like, yeah, it's a slingshot. It's like, I keep it. Not even because it's like a slingshot is the actual weapon. It's like the accoutrement. You know what I mean? It's like, I keep that thing on me, and you just like post a quiver, like an empty with no arrows in it. Right. Just a quiver, just an empty quiver. I got it. Like, what the? Come on. This is bullshit. And stealing a car, once again, that this is, and I'm not taking sides, except for the fact that, obviously we all hate dumb broads in general. They're all, and in some ways I want to blame the female police officer more. Like, I know that it was the male cop who went crazy and said shot fired, but I feel like the female officer, she wasn't even scared, but she was just like being a follower, and she saw her male partner was scared, so she just started shooting without even investigating, but
she sounded unhinged though too in the body cam footage.
A lot of people are saying more. A lot of people are saying she sounded even worse, and like she drove her partner to it. He was on edge from dealing with it. That's what most people have been saying. But that what really happened when it comes to like stealing a car is that this is a car that he normally uses that is technically in her name, right? And she is there in a fight, and she is using the leverage of being like, you can't be taking my car, because you know how they are. They have no honor. They have absolutely zero honor, and you can't expect it from them because they're barely people. Anyways.
Acorns are now considered a huge occupational hazard for cops, by the way. So,
it's not on the list?
It is now.
I don't know, man. Have you ever been around a falling acorn?
It's dangerous stuff, dude. You gotta be careful.
You think this job is easy?
Yeah. No idea.
We got all kinds of forest detritus falling on us all the time. It ain't easy being a cop.
Next up, pine cones. Just wait till a pine cone falls on an officer's head. Then,
when a pine cone actually hits the body of a police officer, it's gonna be scorched earth for like 50 miles radius.
Yeah,
they're gonna bring in the tanks and the flamethrowers and all that good stuff.
I did see something. I mean, this was like an offhand like Twitter comment, so take it with a grain of salt. But they were saying like that there was some sort of, it was a weird series of comments, but they basically said like, we don't know that no one necessarily got hurt because like they fired so wildly everywhere. And that's the thing is, it was like in a fucking comedy where like, someone unloads a ton of bullets and the person is improbably not hit. Like, I think they barely even hit like their own, like the squad car that they were shooting at, which this guy was handcuffed inside of. But yeah, I think we could probably move on from there. I mean, I'll throw in like the links to this shit for any listeners curious who didn't see it already, because the transcripts of like this long thread on Twitter are pretty entertaining. But I think we probably leave it there for now.
Yes.
And what else was in the news? Oh, of course, this one.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I do like to make a point that unpopular podcast I referenced earlier, like, if they've already hit up certain stories, I try not to repeat them for whatever reason, but we're repeating this one because we fucking found it just as legitimately as anybody else did before they dropped their episode. But yes, Democrats unveil new hip-hop task force to tackle racial inequality.
Oh, God, I love it.
Tim, you alerted me to this. Why don't you take us through this amazing odyssey?
It's so good, and it does kind of go with, I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but it does kind of go with some other, it is on the list, actually, but like the 5 elements of hip-hop, talking about it, and like the fucking hitting, like the article even lists artists like Eric B, Rakim, Queen Latifah, Chuck D, and Public Enemy, which, you know, and this is not, I'm not doing the character that I was doing in the last article with women, but Queen Latifah is not in the same conversation as Rakim and Public Enemy. She was never, like, she was barely a rapper. She does not have a rap. Anyways.
What about Missy Elliott?
And then Missy Elliott, yes, she should be on the list,
story,
but different time period. You know, that's the only problem there. She's not. I would put like, oh God, now you're trying to push the thing, because I'm like, okay, like MC Light could be in the conversation.
Are we just talking about lady rapists now?
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying like from the era, you know.
I'm a Lil Kim fan in general.
Yeah.
Little Kim is a little bit later than Rakim
Let's
and
going back
Public Enemy and stuff too. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like MC Light.
Okay, I thought Jamal Bowman, who took this whole thing up. I thought just generally he was like, I was into like 80s and 90s like hip hop.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Specifically, he's referencing Public Enemy
and Rakim, Eric B. So I'm like thinking of people from that time period. Anyways. That's not the point. The real point is, just like I said earlier, with Viper being true art, at least the Senate is putting in the effort to actually recognize as well that the rap music is not crap. It's not put a C on the front like your uncle used to say at the Thanksgiving parties.
Yeah.
And this is real art. This is some real art. Yeah. We got to respect it. You know, and we did BLM, and that was good. That was fun. But now, you know, we can like integrate some normal Black people stuff, and it can not just be militant. And we can have some Public Enemy too. But you know,
I was gonna say, like, okay, yeah.
But they should have. Number one, I think that they should do something to pardon Viper, and he should probably head this task force up. I think that he would be, as I said, one of the most prolific rappers of all time. And then you look at it,
and they should allow him to freely address the entire legislative branch of the U.S. government without any time constraints.
Oh my God! Instead of a State of the Union, we should have a rap battle instead of State of the Union. Yeah. That's what we need.
That would be
rap battle or just Viper.
It worked for Hamilton.
For
it worked for Hamilton. That's all I'm saying. You know.
It would make a lot more sense. There is another list here. In September, artists include Fat Joe, number 1 on the list that they reference. And we don't get Fat Joe. Oh, actually, we do. Fat Joe, there's a crossover there to what we're going to be talking about.
Yes, Fat Joe's absolute crossover.
Yeah. So, you know, there it is. He's going to be part of the Partners with Power to the Patients. I don't even know what that means. To film a public service announcement demanding legislators.
You know what?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I totally.
No, please.
Go finish.
No, finish what you're saying.
I was just going to say, ever since that motherfucker became a professional therapist, he's gone all soft.
I know. He does not have the street cred anymore. But yeah, Bowman, you know, he joined forces with Representative Hank Johnson, from Georgia. Are you familiar with this guy? You ever seen House Representative
no,
Hank
I don't-
Johnson representing
don't think so.
Georgia's oh god, I'm trying to see like what district. It doesn't say what district, but yeah, this guy
It just says Georgia, yeah.
he definitely fits the bill, I will say. He looks like another reference to what we're going to talk about later. He looks like Neil deGrasse Tyson's like lamer cousin. Anyway.
Now I know to to keep referencing the fucking most popular podcast of all time, or in some
Sure.
degrees, but
This
I know
American
the
Life.
word. I know the word psyop is getting overused and by people on the right these days, but this shit is fucking psyop to me, like in the sense of like it is pure distraction, right? Like, no, there is no reason for this shit. No legitimate. There's no way he sincerely believes in this. Like, the stated goal of this task force, this hip hop task force, is to quote unquote tackle some of the most pressing issues facing Black and Brown Americans. How so? And like to make it like not just a Black thing, they're like, well, there's also guys like Eminem in the hip hop world, and the Hill article
That's true.
feels the need to say Eminem, whose full name is Marshall Mathers.
Oh, is that what his name is?
You know the guy, you heard.
Who doesn't know
That's the
who
M.
the fuck Eminem
That's the two
is
M's.
at this point?
That's the M's. He's the awfully hot coffee pot guy. He's
Yeah.
the guy who like delegitimized the Michael Rappaport style guy.
They
know,
brought
there
him
used
in
to
for
be-
diversity, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
other reason this is a distraction is because the last time we brought up Jamal Bowman, and this was my first reaction to when you showed me this, was I immediately thought
his
of
fake
Bowman pulling the fucking fire alarm like as a bill was like being brought to the floor or whatever, and he's like, I thought the fire alarm was the way to open the door. Like that was his real excuse.
Pretty good.
Not to totally rehash it, but this was after he just said, no, I didn't pull it. Well, yes, I did, but it was an accident. Well, yes, I did, but it was on purpose, but I thought it was to open the door. He changed his name.
It's pretty good.
Changed his
Pretty good.
reasoning 3 times.
So okay, so you think a man that stupid wouldn't pull something like this, and he actually believes it? I mean, look at how dumb he is.
Okay, maybe he does believe it, but someone put him up to it, or
Okay.
I don't know, whatever. I mean, I'm not. It just is so like is this how, do we really need to use hip hop to like who are we trying to break through to? Like
Young people.
young people who are like historically least racist generation ever.
Well,
like and also biggest fans of hip hop already ever.
Isn't it
like
to-
they don't want some old man Bowman like talking about fucking Queen Latifah.
Right.
It's like, oh, Queen Latifah taught me that racism's bad, y'all. and guess what? It's not just for Black people.
Right.
I heard about this guy named Marshall Mathers who grew up in a trailer park.
I thought
They
the hope
mentioned in this
was.
article, they're like, he grew up in a trailer park or whatever.
I thought the hope was to just get young people to the voting booth. You know, like isn't that the
I mean,
They already did that with the vote or die thing, and it didn't fucking work, and it turned into a South.
Well, this is-
South
but
Park
this is
show.
hip- this
So
is a
the
whole-
same thing.
This is a different animal. This is hip hop we're talking about, Tim. This is how you really.
How was that not hip hop when it was Jay-Z telling
But now,
you to vote or die?
but now
P.
we're
Diddy
calling
telling you
it
to vote or
hip
die?
hop. Now we're bringing in.
Oh, that's fair.
Queen
Yeah,
Latifah.
that's
We're bringing
that's
in.
A good point. That's a good point.
We're bringing in
Yeah.
Rick Ross, who has no problematic issues in his history, by the way.
No,
I think it's gonna work this time. Oh, where's Mackle? Can someone call Macklemore? I want to know where Macklemore stands on this.
no.
Macklemore's pretty good on Israel Palestine last night.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
Kendrick Lamar. Can we get Kenny Lamar? No, bigger names. We need bigger names, is what it is. That's the problem. These names are not big enough, you know. So
But yeah, see, they don't have like more sort of left leaning artists like in directly involved in this either. There's no
yeah,
none of your Killer Mikes, none of your Macklemores,
Well, hold on.
famously
Okay.
leftist.
Why
I
even do
would
hip
like-
hop?
Hip-hop
Taylor Swift is getting
Macklemore.
people to register to vote. Taylor Swift of all people. Say what you will about Tasteway.
Josh, we're gonna add this to the big list, but I
that
think
is the tack they're taking. Yeah, but yeah.
I think add it to the big list of things because you referenced him as a left, artist, a left hip hop artist. But I do think we could do a solo episode on the politics of Killer Mike because he is not.
I'm aware. Actually,
When you
that
just
was
go,
the first thing
like,
I could think of.
He's a left guy. That he's not.
He's not. He's not.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
know.
so-
Listen,
I
Killer
saw some
Mike doesn't like
interviews
Reagan.
recently.
That's left enough for me. That's left enough.
I
If
mean,
you don't like Reagan,
the whole thing with
you're good in my book.
he liked Birdie when Birdie was popular. That's all.
Sure.
We all
That's
did.
the extent. Yeah.
We all
Right.
liked Bernie when Bernie was popular.
But I liked, I liked Bernie before he was cool. Anyways,
You're a
I've
Bernie
said it 1,000
hipster.
times. You all know that. You all know me. I've
That's
explained
true.
it many times. No, but there was some important, good.
I was more of
thoughts
a
that I had
Rand Paul
earlier.
guy myself.
But, yeah, but the only thing that keeps crossing my mind, and obviously they don't drop any numbers in this article, I would like to see what kind of money they're spending on this, because rather than this, as you talk about like doing some actual good for the community, rather than this, if they took that money and you portioned it out, and my first thought was, okay, we could play into the hip hop thing, and you could say, well, how much could you take that money and spend it on and give every American, how much lean did they get from the money that you're spending on this? But, again, that's the hip hop connection, but I'm going to switch it and I'm going to say, let's actually do some real good. Let's give the people something that's going to help them. How much ketamine could you give each American with the amount of money that you're spending on this bullshit?
Yeah.
Because then you could actually better some people's lives with a few ketamine treatments.
Yeah. That's a good point. You're saying, take the money that they would have spent on this and do it with something more.
I'm
productive.
saying people go, okay, the Roman Empire, they were like the opiate of the masses, Christianity, give people circus and bread. I'm saying, fuck that. Let's just cut to the chase. If America wants this empire to continue, let's just give opiates to the masses.
To the masses.
Let's not fucking play with it. Oh, this XYZ, that's the opiate of the masses. No, let's give actual opiates to the masses.
Let's make
Fuck everything
opiates
else.
the opiate of the masses. Yeah, I like
Yes,
that. I like
that's
that.
what I'm
I like
saying.
that. I can get on board.
The Purdue Pharmaceuticals was doing a hell of a job for a while, and that hasn't really let up. It's just the Sacklers aren't directly benefiting anymore. But my final thought on this hip hop task force for today, at least, is when you said lean, my mind immediately went to Lil Wayne, and I remember that Lil Wayne's politics are quite awful.
He's got
At
some
least
good. He's got some
Okay.
good politics because he's got a love-hate relationship with the police. Because
Okay, maybe not awful all around. I saw a interview where he was asked about like Black Lives Matter, and his response was the most leaned out, fucked up out of his mind, trying to be controversial kind of answer. It was like, "What's black? What's lives? What does even matters?" It was like that kind of answer.
Oh yeah,
He's like,
That's
"I'm
right.
not down with that shit."
question everything.
I like
That's
that.
the real answer. Is
Yeah.
question everything.
Yeah.
I'll also
what
say
it is worth.
the little I know about Lil Wayne is that it does boggle my mind that he doesn't write down his lyrics. I
pretty
think
sick.
that's pretty insane, given how 24/7 he's like out of his mind.
Here's the thing.
saw
I didn't know
someone-
there was lyrics. So that tracks.
If you listen to his music, you can understand why
He's
doesn't have to write
very
them down.
wordy, quite
Ah.
wordy.
Oh.
But moving on, speaking of shit, I guess we were kind of speaking of shit.
We have been all night.
And there's not much to say about this other than that it happened, and it pleases me because Nancy Pelosi is the devil.
I hate her.
Today, protesters delivered 300 pounds of crap to Nancy Pelosi's
Wow.
house, demanding that she cut the shit and stop arming Israel.
Oh yeah.
Well, she's not going to be able to cut the
That's
shit
right.
if you're bringing shit to her house.
Well, no,
She's got. I mean,
she's got to get out there and start cutting.
Gotcha.
flatware. She's
Oh,
got
okay.
plenty of flatware. She's got plenty of, you know. She's got a whole freezer
cream
full of ice
scoops.
cream. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure she can
Just
start
get the
cutting
ice cream scoops and start shoveling
Wow.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, the part of the story that people are missing is the part after they put all of this shit out in front of her yard that Steve-O showed up and started doing backflips into the shit. And it's not as funny as it was back in
Did
the
somebody
90s.
do a
And
mukbang video of it?
He was doing.
That's what we need.
He was doing.
A mukbang video of someone just eating all the shit. ASMR type stuff, you know?
I mean, Steve-O's there already.
Yeah.
Just hit him up. He's like, backflips for Israel. And he's just like jumping off into the shit piles.
Makes sense.
And then Biden jokes, this should be in scare
I like
quotes, jokes that he's giving up the press for Lent.
Oh, that's based. That's based as hell,
That's
isn't
pretty
it?
good. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No.
You think that one came up like off the top of his dome, like his freshly
I think so.
amphetamized
Yeah.
dome?
No,
like,
Biden's
or
got
that was a
jokes, dude.
pre-written line?
Biden's got jokes.
I-
He's
He
He's
does
got goofs
sometimes,
and
but-
gaffes.
yeah. Actually,
Yeah, he's pretty
Trump
good.
does too. Trump is actually funny. Like he's a terrible person, but he's funny as hell.
Yeah,
They both got
yeah.
jokes at any given moment. Off
They're
the cuff.
both pretty funny, honestly.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, they're both pretty fun. And I did, I'm with you, Josh, a lot of the time about how Biden is like this old piece of shit whose brain is like melting. But also at the same time, there is something to the fact that like we primarily only see the videos of him where he's having trouble. We don't like, they don't really play like it doesn't go viral when it's a bunch of clips of him just talking.
That
But-
might be fair enough, but like the thing is he like
Yeah, I know.
I think you can like add up the stats on like the average amount of time that presidents spend like actually addressing the public compared to him. He's way below that. So like
Right.
you're right. You're probably right, but I would also say that the times that he's not making massive fuck ups,
Right.
he's
And
still looking on death's door.
Yeah.
And
Like
I
he-
feel like okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, I'll just throw in that like he's so bad these days. Then like a lot of people are saying that like this is all kind of a lead up to, they're gonna run him, and then at like the convention that they're gonna do that kind of last minute.
They're not
Bullshit.
doing any of that shit. Anyway.
Okay, I'm just saying people are.
No, I know.
saying-
I know what I know what you're saying. I'm just saying they're not gonna do anything. Like if I don't know how anyone
Think
can
of how much
see-
worse he could be in a few months, though, man. If he's like
Okay.
truly like a drooling mess, like
Okay, but this is my answer.
they will throw Kamala onto the fucking funeral pyre and let Trump just destroy her, and it will be their strategic losery all over again.
That'd be
But-
wild if that
my
happened.
my point is like you watch the way that it's not just the running for president spectacle of things. It's also just like they pass like the Congress passes like 3 bills per year now. Like it's the government just doesn't have the ability to do anything anymore.
Oh.
The idea like
But that's not about government. That's about the internal workings of the DNC. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Well,
They
what
can-
the
they
fuck
can-
what are you talking about? You're talking about them doing something at the convention, which is the DNC
Yes.
doing something. Yeah, they don't do things anymore. Imagine
Yeah,
the
but-
idea of them doing like a what do they call it? Like oh God, I can't think of the word now. Like a Continental Congress or whatever. Like they're just not gonna do it. They're not gonna do any. They do not have the horses anymore to do anything.
I'm saying there's a difference between what they do in Congress as Democrats and what they do as a party where they answer to no
Sure.
one but themselves. They've done it before historically. Like anyway, I don't even really give a shit about this. I'm
Again,
not
this is
I'm not
like
passionate
this-
about it. I'm just
Right,
saying
right.
it's not crazy that they could. I mean, Are you telling me that the DNC isn't capable of fucking over someone who's running for president? They did it twice to Bernard, right?
Well, that's because he
But,
wasn't
like,
part of the status quo.
Wow. But that's behind the scenes stuff. Like they can do I'm talking about doing something out in the open that's like it's like doing a trick play. It's like doing special teams in football. It's like it's doing something that's like
they'll
actually shows exerting will, and they just don't have it for that. They can do fuck a guy over behind closed doors, sure, but they're not going to do something that big and grandiose in the open.
If he's shitting his pants and drooling and worse than he is now, they'll have no choice. Like, it will be like actually a legitimate move to be like, yeah, we finally admit he's unfit for office, which he has been the whole time, if you ask me, given his mental state.
Newsflash,
Wow.
he's been
Hey,
unfit
let's
the
just-
entire
let's just-
time. Yeah.
Just throw in the other hilarious headline of Biden, first presidential candidate in history to refuse a cognition test as part of his health test. Just flat out, no, we're not doing that.
That's sick.
But no, so what I'm saying is like even the diehards, the religiously devoted to Biden, are like they're the ones making the writing on the wall now. Like Ezra Klein just came out and said Biden needs to gracefully drop out, and he called him a hero. He said he needs to drop out as a hero. So it's not like he's like, oh, I'm turning on Biden politically. Like he fucking will suck every dick that man has. But like even those people at that level are throwing out these little hints here and there of like, well, maybe actually he is too old. And like the public polls right now, it's like 85% of voters across the board think he's unfit, that he's like he can't be president, at least in another term. So I think the party is like aware of this shit and thinking of, last ditch effort backup plans. That's all. But like I don't know. It's just
I agree with you on that. Okay. But I think it's more likely that they try to limp him across the finish line and then have him retire.
Yeah.
Right? After the election already happens.
after he wins.
But-
Okay, that's fair.
But I
enough.
can't argue with you that, like, yes, if you get to the point where he's just 24/7 shitting his brains out and it's impossible to, like, inject him with enough amphetamine to have him say, like, two coherent words, then sure, they got to do
That's
something. But I think we're at the
that's the
point now where we've
situation
only
I'm
got a
talking
couple
about.
more months. We've only got a couple more months to just limp him across the finish line. Trump is already pretty
Man.
much committed to not doing any debates. Biden is, he could just not do any debates. And then we just get, again, they just limp him across the finish line. If he wins, he's not going to win. But if somehow magically he did win, then they just go, oh, Biden, he quietly bows out. He's retiring. He says he can't. Or fuck it. They just go, bam, they put one in the dome and they put him out. Like, I would not be shocked that they don't just kill him and make it easier and then Kamala's president. But
Are
do
you
think
talking
that
about a
they
weekend
know-
at Biden's kind of scenario? Oh no, you're saying they just.
No, I'm saying they actually kill his
Actually,
ass,
okay.
and they let everyone know he is dead.
It's already
Oh, yeah.
it's been weekend at Biden's this whole time since the since the campaign even. But
Right. But I think that they know that at this point it's too late to pull it, and also, like I said, that they just don't have the horses to do something that big publicly anymore. That's like a real thing. It's like you can do stuff behind closed doors, but you just don't do it out in the open. You don't do anything. You don't actually do anything
I
because
agree
they're all
they
just so
won't
fucking scared.
they won't
Right.
pull that kind of convention shit unless, as we agree, he's at that like he's bad enough.
No.
Right.
But
Well, he's like fucking catatonic, sure.
yeah, I mean, ugh. and all I'm saying though on top of that is, look at him now and look at how like even the Ezra Kleins, etc., are like kind of turning on him. I think that's all kind of I don't know. It's like this sea change of like, it's starting out like whispers and like they're like leaking little things to the press or whatever, and it's all it's all strategizing. But speaking of how front lawns full of shit, Biden's head full of shit, we have another absolute shithead to talk about here named Michael Rapaport. That's a silent T, like how the fancy French say it.
Is that the actor? Is that...
Yeah,
okay.
I'm being stupid. Michael Rapaport.
I don't think you could necessarily at this point. I think he's less famous for being an actor, and yes, and also the 5 elements of hip hop, as I referenced earlier. I don't think it's fair even at this point to refer to him as a rapper. He's kind of a I guess cultural, multimedia. I guess the only word to truly describe what he does is retard. He's a multimedia retarded person.
Isn't he super?
His brain is stupid and bad.
He's leftist though, right?
No.
Yes.
His whole thing.
No.
His whole thing before October 7th, at least, was kind of just I'm an anti-cancel culture guy.
Well, hold on.
You know,
who's crazier, him or Randy Quaid?
Randy Quaid is objectively, actually, mentally ill.
Okay.
Michael Rappaport's just the dipshit from... Is he from Long Island or Staten Island? I can never fucking differentiate the two. He's
one of the islands. He's got that. New York.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares? It's all fake. It's all fake America. It's not the real New York even. Everyone knows the real New York is in Syracuse.
Yeah.
Anyways.
He's been like a real fixture of the celebrities for Israel, celebrities in favor of flattening Gazan children because they're Hamas Qassam fighters in the making.
So he's a Zionist. He's a straight up Zionist. You're saying
he's a Zionist.
Oh, wow.
He's a vile Zionist. I don't keep up with him that much. I just hear things here and there. And one of them was he thought it was this amazing gotcha thing, which is kind of his whole style about all of his little videos that he uploads. But he's like, "Huh? You think calling me a Zionist is an insult, bro? I love being a Zionist. It's the great But
says, the only thing I want in salt are my bagels as they're boiling in a lye bath before they get baked. Anyway, yeah.
So this most sort of recent thing that P got, of course, just dragged for as usual, because a lot of people on the left, keep up with him because he's just this fucking clown who just destroys himself every word that comes out of his mouth.
One of the saddest things about Michael Rapaport is that he's even to this day, a fucking Howard Stern hanger-on. He's not even good enough to be in the whack pack level fucking Howard Stern sycophantic hanger-on freak.
He's not as big as Beetlejuice?
No, Beetlejuice washes it. He would fucking scrub Beetlejuice's feet if he was given the chance.
Wow. That's bad.
So I think he just discovered who Norman Finkelstein is, and a man who's been studying occupied,
studying the history
Palestine.
of his family, studying the history of his family that were all executed in the Holocaust and the fallout from that. Yeah. A man who's
his parents survived concentration camps, and the rest of his relatives were killed in the Holocaust. And so, of course, he's Jewish. So Michael Rapaport, along with anyone else who's of his ilk, has to say, of course, he's a self-hating Jew, Norman Finkelstein. But he says, I would like to publicly debate. And then for some reason he hits the return key on his keyboard and the next line goes down. I just love when so often when dumb people tweet or write anything, they don't know basic formatting or punctuation. But anyway,
right.
I would like to publicly debate the self-hating con man. And again, another space. All caps, Norman Finkelstein, live, anytime, any place.
Wow.
Anyone anyone wanna who can set it up, let me know. Hashtag Norman Finkelstein. And Katie Halper, who's good friend of Norm's, has him on her show all the time, was like, do it on my show. That would be so fucking funny. Oh, I hope it happens so bad. I hope it happens so badly.
It's honestly one of the
It'd be
few things that I would actually get really excited about, especially because Ben Burgess would do like a breakdown on it, which would be so much fun.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I believe I chimed in that this will be the most painfully hilarious entertainment of the year. So that'll be good. Also, I thought it's fitting to bring up rape a poor person.
Yes.
Because he is in a little film that we've mentioned every time Adrian's been on called Deep Blue Sea.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he is.
Hell yeah.
He's also in
a shark at some point.
He turns into a
I
shark.
don't think he survives that movie. Right?
Probably not.
I was gonna say I thought he turned into a shark. Or is that just the music video with LL Cool J? He's also in Bamboozled.
You're again mixing up a guy who wishes he were black with an actual black man. LL Cool J.
He was also in the film Bamboozled, which I've referenced, I think, every time we've had Adrian on as well. As something that we should eventually review.
I've only seen him.
Which I think it is online.
He was on Boston Public. He was on that TV show forever ago. That was a good show, actually.
He was. He's also on Atypical. He plays the autistic kid's dad. Just something for the ladies out there.
Wait! You're telling me my kid can't read facial expressions?
Wow.
No.
He says,
no.
Understanding
we're going
social
to
cues is one of the 5 elements of...
We're gonna look for the apartheid. Where's this so-called apartheid? That's another video he made recently. Yeah. He's in Israel right now, and he's like posting all this cringe as fuck shit. It's him like walking down a single street in Tel Aviv or whatever with the fucking camera in his hand.
Why do you think some of these actors go off the
Where's
deep
this
end?
apartheid? Is it under here? Where could it be?
Do the acting jobs dry up and they're just like, well, I got to do something to stay relevant, so let me just get into politics real quick and see how that goes.
Yeah.
Like,
I think he's a true believer in Zionism, but I don't know.
Right, that's like their pet. That becomes his
maybe
pet
it was like. Maybe he lost his mind, like especially during like COVID or something. I'm not sure.
Maybe he's got that COVID brain.
I mean, the real answer is the thing where it's like the Jewish people who are like just so absolutely like hamstrung and afraid of the idea that like another Holocaust is going to happen because that's the way that their culture teaches. And when I say their culture, the culture teaches all of us constantly that anti-Semitism is the original hatred, which I think I mentioned this on the podcast. Maybe I just mentioned it to Alicia in private, but I did. The funniest response that I've ever heard to that was from friend of the show. Oh God, I can't think of Liz Brunig, when she said, "Oh, you guys really think that anti-Semitism is the oldest hatred? Because I'm pretty sure women existed before Jews. So, I think that misogyny is probably the oldest hatred because I'm pretty sure that men have always hated women.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like, but it's, they're indoctrinated with that concept. So what they think is like, I need somewhere to be safe someday because I'm just a small being. So I have to have Israel exist because that's the only place where I know I'll be safe if it goes crazy and they do number 2 Hitler. But I do like Adrian's idea that it's about being relevant and it's about actors who think that they're losing, or entertainers who are losing their importance culturally, because that's a great transition to our main topic of the evening. Jennifer Lopez trying to remain relevant and fighting against the dying of the light. Attempting what some people were referring to as attempting to do her own version of the Beyonce Lemonade, movie album thing, and absolutely failing and not, as they say, not understanding the assignment, because this is not anywhere near the same concept. This is literally just a bunch of music videos ham-fistedly strung together with a light narrative, as opposed to what Beyonce did, which was like actually a narrative film that happened to have some songs in it.
Right.
Yeah, this was crazy because like if you watch the Beyonce thing, it was like a musical that had dance numbers in it. This is like music videos. Like she could not, Jennifer Lopez could not get away from just doing stereotypical music videos. It was insane.
And by the way, half the time I thought they were having a seizure because the choreography of each number is like weird. Like the first one, I was like, "Why is she shaking her head like that? Why are the factory workers like twitching like that? Are they okay?"
Yeah, there was
they're
so
doing
many
a
like twitching
dance. Yeah.
Yes,
It-
yeah.
It's throughout the choreography, and as a closeted professional choreographer, yeah, I've worked on some big projects. I just don't like to
Ooh.
brag. I was just my mind was boggled by the fucking dance choreography of this movie. It is seizure like, as you say, and like it made me immediately think of two things, which I do have pulled up. Do you guys remember that? I don't even know if you could call it a meme. I don't even remember how popular this was, but that video on YouTube called "Going to the Store." Does anyone know what I'm talking
No,
about?
no.
Okay,
I do
then
not.
we're gonna watch it because it's very short and it sums up exactly what this fucking dancing looks like.
It's literally just called going
weird.
to the store.
All right, pull it up.
Oh,
Jamie, pull it up.
oh yeah, I know what this is with the weird mannequin thing. Yeah.
Here we go.
That's a classic.
This is what the dancing looked like to me. It's unnerving. It's fucking uncanny shit.
Yeah.
People would like take this and set it to different music. I
Yeah.
remember.
This is going back of you, dude. This is crazy.
Yeah, this is an old one for you old
This was
heads
posted
out there.
12 years ago. It's a
Yeah.
normal guy, normal walk by David Lewandowski, which is that right? Is that who uploaded this?
That's Monica
Yes,
Lewinsky's
actually,
half brother.
This is the best part where you can't get up the stairs. All right.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. That's a great
there's
analogy.
actually-
Good job, dude.
There's actually another
Shout
one
out to
where it's
shout out to the recommendation there. I saw Igor being recommended to you. Sick band. Good stuff.
Yeah.
this Time for Sushi. This one embodies the movie even more.
Wow.
I'll just say because it's a ton of them.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're doing synchronized freakouts. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, you guys get the idea.
Yeah. Need a lot of computing
so-
power to do that dance number.
And as long as I have the screen shared, the very, very first thing I thought of, I think, because just the words herky jerky went into my head.
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah, I
thought
love
of
herky jerky. It's one of the
choo-choo,
best things
the
they sell
herky-
at Trader Joe's.
Mm.
Hey, where is it? I thought I had it pulled
Oh.
up. Fuck, I don't. Hang on.
Herky jerky. I don't think I've heard of that one. Choo choo herky jerky.
Mr. Show. This guy.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, that's it. That guy went to Jan 6th, by the way.
Yeah, that's a Jan
that
6 man.
actor.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Ironically or
Jay,
unironically?
No,
Jay
he was there.
Johnston, I wanna
Was into
say.
it. Yeah,
He
Jay
was into
Johnston.
it.
That's his name.
He was
That's
trying
that
to
guy.
subvert democracy. Wow.
Democracy.
Democracy.
So yeah, the dancing is like unnervingly weird.
Yeah.
And like I wrote somewhere like that as like kind of unpleasant as it was to look at this dancing, I was like, at least they're trying something, not just like typical whatever music video dancing, because it immediately leapt out to me as just fucking weird, and like someone was like really going for something avant-garde, taking a chance. I did not look up who the choreographer was on this, but whatever. Before we really jump in, though, I got to mention that the director, can you believe this? His credits are solely for music videos until this.
That
Shocking.
makes sense.
There's no fucking way.
Well,
I believe, unless he did some like short movies or something, but I'm pretty sure it was all music.
you'd be
videos.
surprised how many
Yeah.
like good film directors started off as music video directors.
Sure,
believe it or
sure.
not. But
No, that's true. Like Spike Jones,
Wow.
David Fincher, I believe,
That
was
used to be a thing. I don't.
Fincher.
I feel
yeah,
like it's not a
Fincher
thing
for
anymore.
sure.
not so much anymore. But I'm saying like there was a career path sometimes, like from music director to film director and so on.
No, it's no shade on music
Yeah.
video directors. I'm just saying, since this is one like a 65-minute music video,
Right.
essentially, that's what it also looks sort of like a perfume commercial. or like
I
some-
was gonna say that. In the beginning, when they're on the motorcycle gliding across the water, I was
Yes.
expecting her to turn to the camera and be like, "Oh, the toilet by Jay Leno," but it never came. It never happened, unfortunately. Yeah, it's got that good fucking perfume visual aesthetic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is not the worst thing in the world, by the way. But you know, the whole thing was clearly just a big vanity project for Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, so we should say that, like, okay, this movie is called "This Is Me."
This is me.
Ellipses,
Now.
And same title as her like upcoming album,
Right.
Like it's like her first album in a long time. So a lot of this seems like, you know, maybe midlife crisis speaking, like, you know, I'm going to do this ambitious thing. She funded this movie, I believe, maybe not solely, but she put 20 million of her own money into this.
That
thing.
explains the runtime. Like,
Yeah,
we can't
yeah.
afford a feature-length movie, Jennifer. What we can do is
It also
50
explains
minutes
the
tops.
actors.
Well, those were all
The act-
favors. You know, those were like, we'll do it for scale.
With maybe the exception of Jane Fonda,
Yeah.
who I gotta say, I know in some of our
hold on.
off mic texting we've talked about
Oh yeah,
J Lo's appearance, because I was kind of like damn, she's still looks pretty fucking
She
good
does.
for however old she is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
She could get it.
I was telling my girlfriend about how we were going to do this like a week ago or something, and she's like, my girlfriend said, she's like the only celebrity I follow on Instagram because her body is fucking insane. I was like, yeah, I
Nice.
guess so.
All right.
But yeah, there must be, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know why I'm like diving into this. Like, did you think she's had work done?
yeah, right.
Like,
Where would you say she ranks in the music world? Like, obviously, like Beyonce and Taylor Swift are up here. Like, where would you rank Jennifer Lopez in relation to them? Like, obviously, kind of below them, but like, how much?
definitely below.
How much though? Like, are we a crazy amount
You should-
or?
Well,
we're-
okay. Before we get into ranking women, celebrity.
Tim, I've got binders of women to
Josh?
rank.
Right. Josh, if your girlfriend is into following J-Lo on Instagram because of her body, you should probably tell her about Selma Hayek's Instagram, because
Oh,
she's definitely exploring heights that we've not quite seen at this point in over 50-year-old women doing thirst traps on Instagram. Like,
yeah.
J-Lo definitely looks good, but Selma she is really pushing the boundaries of thirst trapdom. A geriatric thirst trapdom, as we call it. And these are arts and sciences that really do need to be explored as we reach into the 30th and 31st century.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think J-Lo is like legendary status. I don't, you have to
Really?
keep in mind, this bitch was a fly girl. That's like on top of everything. That's huge.
I forgot about that.
He's got
yeah.
street cred from the beginning. Like, that's like pre fucking anything, right? Like, that's like huge.
Mhm.
So she's a fly girl. She was in the car when I was gonna say Shine, but I don't even think it is Shine, right? Is that the guy who caught the gun charge for Jay-Z, or not for Jay-Z, for Puff Daddy?
Mm.
Is it Shine? Is
I
it
don't
the
know
right
about
rapper?
that.
I don't
Anyways,
remember at all.
J Lo was in the car for the Puff Daddy gun beef charge, which I think Shine went to jail for. Right? This is what I'm talking about. You're talking about a legendary figure in culture.
Right.
You've got
In culture, I'm saying specifically music wise.
Sure. But I mean, what does being a famous musician mean other than being a cultural icon? Like
Well,
once
see,
you get to a
that's-
certain
but-
point,
That's a good point.
But I think that's where the question started, was in terms of music career, comparing to someone like Taylor Swift or Beyonce. She's definitely below in terms of popularity and album sales and all that shit. Definitely. What are you kidding me?
Sure. You can measure like album sales,
And who cares? also?
Probably.
Like,
yeah, nah. I was just
I would
curious
say
where you guys
probably.
ranked her. I think Tim, you're saying that from a pop culture standpoint,
Cultural
she's up there.
significance.
Yeah. From a music
she's
standpoint,
A-list. She's
Yeah.
A+ cultural significance.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about quality of music. We're just talking about cultural, and then but if you were going to talk about
and she's
like,
been
just
around
money,
a while too. She's been
just
around longer.
drawing
than-
money, then
let's
Taylor,
just
but
let's
you
just
also-
let's just round table our general impressions of J Lo. I always thought of her as an actress first and foremost, just from whatever my vantage point at the time
Yeah.
growing up. I was like, she's this up and coming actress. I think she's hot. She's in that
Yes.
movie Out of Sight, which is actually a pretty good movie that I think holds up. I think I saw it not like a couple years ago again, maybe. And that's basically it. And then I was like, oh, she also does like music.
She also- yeah.
That looks
She
kind of
happens to
bad,
also
and
do
I just
music.
never paid attention to it.
Yeah.
And then she seemed to kind of just disappear from my radar for a long time.
Well, she sort of
That's
does
it.
that, right? She kind of disappears and comes back, and then disappears and comes back. That's why this felt like a vanity project, because it almost felt like this is her me staying relevant to her, by releasing this extended music video, visual album project, whatever you want to call it. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's got kind of midlife crisis written all over it to me.
definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, the songs are even about basically
It's
that.
got a fucking motorcycle accident. Like, talk about textbook midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Motorcycle accident is midlife crisis, right?
Yeah. I would say so.
Yeah.
Or at least like buying a motorcycle.
Sure.
She's,
right.
Fun fact: that is Ben Affleck driving that motorcycle.
Oh, is it
in the
really?
beginning.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
You can
what I was
kind of
teasing.
tell if they hide
early
his
on.
face though. Like you wouldn't
Yeah.
know right away unless you were really looking.
Did she ever say why they got
So
back
that's like
together?
that's like the narrative of the story is the
Yeah.
idea that like Ben Affleck is the guy that she's meant to be
Yeah.
with, and he's the trouble in the beginning, and then the accident, which of course that's just the story that she tells. And then you get
Right.
the mix of the different people, but yeah. Anyways, like
Oh shit! I didn't even put that together. Okay,
Yeah.
so in one of the early scenes, the guy she's with, who I guess is the stand-in for Ben Affleck, he's like, this is already off to a funny start.
yes,
There's some shit that happens before this, but I'll just say she's in this like high rise that's just like 100% made out of glass. Like every wall.
well, that guy's
is made
not
of
Ben
glass.
Affleck. That's a rebound.
He's
guy.
not?
But yes, no, because Ben Affleck is in the motorcycle, and then this guy is the
I was
rebound
gonna say,
guy.
'cause he was like drunk,
Well,
but okay.
Sure.
All
That
right,
was
well,
very
anyway.
fun. Yeah, but no, he's not supposed to be Ben Affleck because that's supposed to be a rebound relationship. That's why
Right.
they're
You're right.
tied together.
Now I gotta look up who she
But I
dated.
get what you're saying because the drunk. Okay, but the drunk thing is very funny. Now I feel like we're making a huge skip, but like
we are. Let's go to the very beginning.
Okay,
It starts
let's go.
with
To begin
a
at the
tale
beginning.
as old as time, a tale we all are familiar with.
A
the
tale as
Puerto
old
Rican
as
Romeo
time.
and Juliet.
Yeah.
Which I cannot remember.
The whole
the
visual
names of-
like animation thing they did in the beginning, I thought that was pretty cool actually. Like,
Visually, the movie looks like it was worth every
Yeah.
penny she spent of that 20 million. Like, there's nothing. It's like competently directed
Yeah.
as a music video. It's just the script is the thing that's the most flawed and disjointed.
Yeah, some of the visual stuff felt AI generated. Like if you've seen enough AI generated art, some of the visual stuff in the beginning felt like, because everyone is always too handsome in AI art, and when I watched that whole story of the Tano love story or whatever, the guy and the girl are like they're super beautiful and perfect, and he's got 6-pack abs. Like that's AI. That has to have been AI stuff because it was too perfect to So, but
yeah. I agree. So she's talking about this star-crossed lovers story. I assume it's a real story, but I mean,
it could also be made up.
Sorry, my Eurocentric mind couldn't help but just reductively push it down as Puerto Rican Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. If you look deep enough, I'm sure every culture in the world has a Romeo and Juliet type story. It's like such a common trope, like star-crossed lovers or whatever.
She literally says star-crossed lovers.
Yeah.
I'm actually now playing the movie silently in a small screen in the corner.
I ripped it off from the screenplay. Star-crossed lovers, copyright 2020.
It does look AI, man. You're right. It's looking pretty AI-like.
The stuff they can do with AI now will blow your fucking mind. I mean, there's videos coming out now where you can actually make videos that look crazy real.
So in this Puerto Rican myth, the woman gets turned into a red. It's just said as a red flower.
A red flower.
Red flower.
Style
and then the dude gets turned into a hummingbird. He's like begging for death or something, so they turn him into a hummingbird.
Well,
I think
he's gonna spend his days going flower to flower to find his love.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so.
It's so beautiful. I'm weeping over here. Also, and then it cuts to this motorcycle. Like there's speeding on a motorcycle through like what looks like what's that called? Like the salt flats, like in Utah.
Yeah. I don't know where
it looks
that
like
was.
that, except it's somehow covered in water. It's like a water covered desert. It doesn't make any sense to me, but
that was the part that
I'm
looked
only
like a Dior
an
commercial.
undercover choreographer, not a geologist.
Yeah.
So what do I know?
That was the part that especially looked like a fucking perfume ad. Was that whole motorcycle?
Yeah.
It's that super dramatic lighting.
They do like this huge action sequence where they like
The Heart Factory.
Well, just the motorcycle crashes.
Yeah.
It like it flips forward like 1,000 times in this very overdramatic crash, and then it cuts to space. So
The final frontier.
I mentioned like the sort of log line or whatever. The thing that I read on a previous episode about this movie, but I heard it was coming out, was like Jennifer Lopez plays a insomniac, nymphomaniac, or sex addict in space.
Yeah.
And it's a musical. Which was slightly misleading because we find out that like a lot of this heart factory, as they literally refer to it as, that's like a space. It's like from like Alien 3, but it's like way more like glossy and well lit.
Yeah. That was a weird. That looked like some like dystopic.
They should have got Fincher on this thing,
right? What was up with the not to get too far ahead, but I didn't get the whole nymphomaniac angle. Like they mention it, but they never do anything with
No,
that.
that's not. It was not nymphomaniac. Number one, you're already skipping way too
Or
far
sex
ahead.
addict.
Number two, they did not say it's Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous.
It
It's very
starts with
important for
sex
us in the
addict and-
community.
Oh, okay.
It gets demoted in the plot to what, love addict.
There was a plot.
It's okay. The thing is that they really did like make it obvious that like you're talking to someone who actually knows about this shit when like.
Oh, do you?
No one would call her a sex addict. based on this unless they've actually been through the program. That would not be their first term, right? Because she's not. You have to like actually have hit and rock bottom and gone through all of this and then
But
know
why
about
did
like,
her
the
friend
concept.
say that at
Because the concept is that that's my point, is that it's being written and directed by someone who's gone through all of this stuff and has actually done the treatment and the steps and has accepted that they are what they call a love addict, which is someone who is addicted to being in love and falling in love and doing the NRE thing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, yeah, she's not a
Speaking of-
sex addict, but no one would say you're a love addict because no one fucking says that because it's weird and you have to be a psychopath to even know that that's a thing.
Interesting.
Speaking of who wrote this, though, by the way, writing credits go to 4 people.
4 people.
I mean, 2 writing.
Oh,
Jennifer Lopez has a writing
Wow.
credit, and someone named Matt Walton, who's written 0 else and has worked on 0 other movies, also has a written by credit. And then there's 3 story by credits, also J-Lo, then the director Dave Meyers, and then somebody named Chris Schaefer, who I did not look into.
I would struggle to even call this a movie, though. That's the thing. Like, this isn't really a movie.
it's not.
It's
Yeah.
not.
It's not a
This
movie
is
at all.
This is an ad for her album, and it's and Vanity Project cannot be overstated enough. Like,
Yeah.
you know, yes, her character, quote unquote, has like problems. She's not perfect, I suppose, but it's one of those. If you've seen enough of these like these hilarious like low budget Vanity Project movies, like most people would know, like The Room, but my favorite is Neil Breen.
Oh,
who, by the way,
oh my God. I
yes.
love Neil Breen. Oh my
thank
God. He's
I'm
amazing.
I'm so happy. He's the
Who
best.
am I?
He-
What
he-
am I?
he's got a-
The acting is amazing. Sorry. I'm gonna totally geek out on this.
Neil Breen is not enough can be stated about the amazing person who is Neil Breen.
That's what we should do next.
And looking him up,
Yeah.
he's just released a new movie.
Oh God,
last
yes,
year.
yes.
And let's get this though, he won 2 legitimate awards for it.
yeah,
Well, I don't know.
Well
I'm assuming
deserved.
this is legitimate.
Legitimate
the
is
Hollywood Real Independent
Oh.
Film Festival. He won the People's
Yeah.
Choice Award and Best Fantasy Film Award.
Here's the thing. I want to say really quick about Neil Breen is that it's easy to talk shit because his movies are bad, but it takes a lot of work to make a movie, and he's out there doing it. I mean, to his credit, he's making them happen constantly.
He's made more movies than you've probably made, BN.
Oh yeah, 4 years of film school, and I've made shit. He's pumping them out. So
when he does these movies, by the way, and I won't try once to won't get too side. I mean, the films of Neil Breen was going to be my general recommendation anyway today, but
I love it.
these are he gets credited as director, writer,
Yep.
producer, editor, music director,
Yeah,
actor,
yeah.
craft
services. Someone's
Breen
got to
says it
provide
all,
snacks.
baby.
Someone's got to provide
Oh,
snacks.
and of course, lead actor.
Lead
in
actor.
every one.
Yeah.
And he's usually playing some sort of messiah figure.
Yeah, always.
So anyway,
Wait, so what does Neil Breen have to do with J-Lo? How do we get on that?
well, I was thinking of vanity projects and how they obviously they're making themselves look good ultimately in the film,
Yeah.
which she does in this movie.
Yeah.
Like literally look good, but then also just even though she has her struggles or
Yeah.
whatever, like
She looks picture perfect in every shot. Like her hair,
Yeah.
even when her hair is messy, it looks great, and her makeup is perfect. And like I said, the Botox fillers are perfect and all that, or whatever.
And of course she's playing not even a thinly veiled version of herself. Like I was like when I was watching it, I was like, do they ever say her name? And they don't. So actually, she's
Artist.
credited officially as artist.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I didn't even
That's
know.
so
I
good.
didn't catch that.
That is like next level. That is like when you talk about Neil Breen, you talk about the guy from The Room. Like your character on this thing being called artist is like
yeah.
on that same level. It's that
Yeah,
same
it
level
is.
of delusional. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, let's see. Neil Breen, I have right here his role, his names throughout his films. Second film, just The Being.
The Being.
Yeah.
Third film,
Yes.
fourth film, AI / something THGIL. I don't even know how to pronounce that. He plays him. Oh, he's in a documentary about himself.
Of course.
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
He plays himself.
Love it.
Of course. Okay, but anyway, but so there's a roundabout way of saying that I thought of Neil Breen immediately before I even watched the movie because of the ellipses in the title, which is something Neil Breen did in his second film, 2009. I Am Here.
No, that's right.
Now.
That is.
Holy shit!
I completely forgot about that.
This is a Neil Breen tribute.
This is a
film.
$20 million Neil Breen fantasy.
Did J-Lo rip off
vanity
Neil
project.
Breen and we didn't realize it?
She is this whole time. This is a Neil
know what?
Breen tribute pick.
I was gonna say she ripped off Neil Breen, but I think the thing is that this album / movie she's made just now, it's in reference to an older album she made, which was called "This Is Me ... Then," which may have come out before 2009.
Gotcha.
So then Breen is maybe ripping off J-Lo. But...
this is Inception.
He's retroactively ripping
Yeah.
her off. Yeah.
Speaking of Inception level, that's perfect
Yes.
because maybe my number one disappointment with this movie is to find out that all the space shit and stuff is just her dreams.
Her dreams, yeah.
I wanted it to be real within the reality of the movie.
Yeah.
That would have been so much, more wild. And
It's
wacky.
crazy that her
But,
dreams have all those choreographed dance and music numbers. Though. It's
exactly,
all-
and the way they cut to them and cut away from them, it's very undreamlike.
Yeah.
Like you only know it's supposed to be a dream because it's like, now I'm talking to Fat Joe, my therapist, and he just said, "Wow, that was some dream."
And I love that he's Joe. He's just
Yeah.
Joe. Like she calls him Joe. Like, does anyone call their therapist Joe? And then also it's Fat Joe.
Yeah.
Is it?
I mean,
him?
on IMDb, he's just credited as therapist. So
Yeah.
that was maybe a goof. But this movie, by the way, just came out today.
Yeah.
We're on top of it, folks.
Oh, yeah.
So there are no
Hot off the
IMDb
presses, man.
goofs and spoofs or whatever.
I think this whole thing could count as a goof, actually. Yeah.
The whole thing. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, there's just
I mean, it truly doesn't matter if we stay in order with the quote unquote plot of this.
Yeah, no.
Quote unquote.
there's no
movie.
plot.
It's, yeah.
But
yeah.
the only reason I'm gonna vaguely try to is so we don't forget anything especially egregious and funny.
Okay.
But
Where are we then?
We are at the motorcycle tumbles over and it just
Okay.
does this cutaway to this sci-fi
Factory.
like I said,
Post-apoc-
it's like a more colorful version of the prison planet of on Alien 3.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the Alex Jones prison
Sure,
planet.
sure. Yes, I was thinking, a mix of that with also some Matrix level thing to it because it's
Yeah,
being
yeah.
powered by
Yeah.
human life or whatever, but it's flowers. Yeah,
Yeah. Flower petals.
The flowers are everywhere. There's this big metal thing that looks sort of like a heart.
No,
which is
it looks
what
very
it's
much like a
obviously
heart.
supposed to be.
It's like the first
Yeah.
thing I thought was like, oh, that's the. It should have been a nose because of how on the nose it was. You know what I mean? Like that's how much of a heart it looked like. It's pulsating and it's hanging in the middle, and yeah, it's like come on.
I would have loved just a giant nose to the left of it, and then an animated AI arrow,
Yeah.
kind of pointing
Yeah.
at it. Yeah. So they're in this factory, and the heart's about to explode or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
it's running out of
factory's
pedal
breaking
energy.
down.
And it needs pedal. Yeah, it needs pedal energy.
and
It needs
and
pedal
all of the flowers die suddenly, and this group of all female factory workers
Yeah.
just immediately start doing the convulsive
Well, there's your
seizuring
problem.
dancing.
Yeah, the twitchy
Yeah.
little. Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is why the factory is failing, because everyone who works here is fucking broads.
I didn't see a single penis.
You know what
in
it
that
is?
Fart
They're not
Factory.
unionized. That's the problem. That's the
it.
problem. They're all
Well, it's 'cause
scabs.
bitches don't get along with each other. They can't have solidarity because they're always worried about whose hair looks the best.
And then we break into like the first like just straight up music video of the
Yes.
movie,
Yeah.
which is whatever the fuck. I don't even remember. I don't care if you guys
No one
remember.
cares.
Feel free
Nope.
to recount what she's singing about.
It was just singing
Now-
about herself, basically.
She's the songs are incredibly again on the
Yeah.
nose and they're like just describing like what's happening. Like my character's thinking this, so now she's going to sing those exact
Yeah.
words. That kind of
It should have been called Exposition, the album. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
every song pertains to what's going on in that scene. There's no room for
Well,
interpretation.
I think it probably goes the other way around. I think it goes the other way around that they made the exposition match the song.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's true.
and it's also
I
incredibly
mean, who knows?
lazy.
She may have conceived this as just like one big project, but yeah, you're probably right. So then I don't know, it cuts away to her being in this therapist office where Fat Joe,
Moderate,
more-
medium Joe.
yeah, I think I wrote down
Dad bod
Fat,
Tad Budget.
uh, Fat Joe's weird, relatively skinny Fat Joe. And then I also wrote, yes, I'm gonna body shame his skinny fat ass. He's like that unnerving skinny fat that people talk about a lot when like someone say like an asshole like Penn Jillette loses a bunch of weight and it looks unnerving and weird.
Or John Goodman. You know,
John
Goodman looks.
I love John Goodman so much,
too.
but yes, he does have the unnerving sort of like lost a bunch of weight,
Yeah.
and you're used to seeing him being very.
I feel like the
large,
chubbiness kind of
effect.
complemented his physique in general, and then he lost weight, and then
Well, it's the thing where like all the neck fat gets lost, and there's the waddle, and then it gives you kind of the bobblehead energy. But anyway, enough about Fat Joe's beautiful.
and then John
body.
Goodman comes in on a motorcycle and takes off with Jennifer Lopez into the sunset. No,
Yeah.
that actually would have been a better movie, believe it or not. I would have appreciated that a lot more than what we got.
Here's my entire back history with Fat Joe boils down to one thing alone, and that's a distinct memory of like smoking weed with friends and listening to his song Lean Back on the radio and just laughing my ass off at the chorus because it's just I don't know. Maybe just white suburban boy couldn't understand all the intense hip hoppedness of it all, but just someone repeating the phrase lean back, and especially when their name is Fat Joe and they're gigantic was funny to me. It's just like a guy who doesn't want to do much standing around. He wants to lean back.
He just wants to lean back. Yeah,
He wants
I
to
get
lean
that.
back. Yeah.
That's my backstory with Fat Joe. I don't know about you guys or if it matters.
That's still more
not.
interesting a story than this movie, quote unquote.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
And I do have the lyrics to Lean Back pulled up, and man, he drops a lot of N bombs.
Yeah, like
Oh,
they're going
good.
out of
Is he
style.
allowed?
Yeah, he's Puerto Rican enough.
This also, when I was looking at this, I was thinking like, if I'm gonna read any of these lyrics on the show, I don't want to keep saying N-word.
Right.
So I remembered there was a time when that came up a lot on some episode before, and I instead of saying N-word, I found it really amusing to myself to say ne'er-do-well.
Ne'er-do-well.
Instead. Half the ne'er-do-wells in the squad got a scar on their
What
face.
about ne'er-do-wells in Paris?
Yeah, ne'er-do-wells in Paris. Said my ne'er-do-wells don't dance, we just pull up our pants. That's one of the lines in Lean Back.
pretty good.
by the
That's
way.
pretty
I
good.
like
That's
that.
pretty good.
I like that.
I'm gonna say that's pretty good. Speaking of ne'er-do-wells, we get the Rebound Boyfriend music video, and you guys were talking about things looking like AI.
Yeah.
The rebound boyfriend, his face looked like he was AI.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice that? That he did not look like a human?
It looked too
He looked
perfect. Right?
Some kind of creature, some kind of
I'm gonna look at it right
Well,
now.
dude,
had surgery, had
Yeah.
something to make him look like a
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally,
Some of
I
the
see it.
surgery
Yeah.
that celebrities are getting these days is putting them
Yeah.
in the uncanny valley territory. Have you seen Zac Efron's face lately? Oh my god.
Yeah, I just
Oh
watched
my
that. And
God.
thought it's a good movie. Yeah,
His
Well,
face.
and it is really.
His body looks more like sort of uncanny than anything
Gosh.
these days. At
Let's
least
not
in that
even get
movie.
started about his body.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the greatest things that it was kind of referenced earlier. You were talking about the alcoholism thing, but the rebound boyfriend music video starts out, and it's like they're just like talking, everything's fine, and she like lightly says something, and it's so amazing the way that like it cuts from they're just having a conversation, you don't even know,
So
and then he
good.
just has an alcohol bottle in his hand and takes a gigantic shot. Like it's like instantly it goes from we're just talking to I'm mad, it's a fight, and I'm drinking within like seconds. And that's the like music video logic of it that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's like you would never do that in a movie or like
No.
a narrative something. This is where I talk about like she did not understand the idea that you're making a movie. You're not just making music videos. She could not get her brain around the concept of doing something bigger. And it's crazy because Beyonce just does music and J-Lo has been in movies.
Yeah.
J-Lo was in The Cell. That is a film that people reference to this day as being like a good movie, right?
Yeah.
People talk about it as being like a good film.
I gave it a
She didn't-
rewatch not that long ago. It's
doesn't
pretty
hold up.
bad.
It's pretty
What
bad.
about
sure,
Anaconda,
but
guys? Anaconda. I don't care who you are.
She's
That's
in
a great
Anaconda,
movie.
probably also bad.
I love that
But you get
movie.
my point. Is that J-Lo?
That's like
you
fun
talked
bad,
about it,
though.
Josh. You talked about it to begin with. The idea that you thought of J-Lo as an actress first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than Beyonce.
In the 90s, at least, yeah.
More than Beyonce, but yet J-Lo doesn't understand the idea of making this into a movie as opposed to just stringing together music videos. And it really shows here in the rebound story where the guy is just like, he goes from 0 to 1,000 and has a fucking bottle of alcohol that he drinks from instantly and turns into a dick.
And he also he has this like intense mood swing, because we also have to mention that the Zodiac plays a rather large role in this fucking thing.
The Zodiac?
I mean, I can't call it a movie.
Oh,
just like
you're a Cancer, you're a Libra, you're a whatever.
The signs.
Right. Yeah.
So actually, before we get to this one scene when she's talking to her therapist, skinny fat Joe, she goes, "You're such a Taurus."
Yeah.
Just like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And also, he says one of maybe the most cliche line a therapist could ever say in fiction, which is, "We're not here to talk about me."
Right.
Right.
That's such a Taurus
That's the
thing to
most
say.
cliche. That's the most cliche thing that a therapist can say in media after.
Let's explore
What about
this.
your mother? No.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
that's, that almost goes
Number
without
one
saying,
is
but yeah.
let's not talk about me. Let's talk about you. And then that's number two. Number one is what about your mother?
What about your mom?
Yeah. So yeah. But yes. But
So
the Council of the Zodiac comes after the music video.
It does, but I'm just saying, like, it through.
Sure,
it
they
goes
teased,
throughout,
they hint, yeah.
and the reason the AI uncanny alcohol boyfriend flips out, she's like staring out the window and she's like drawing the zodiac signs like on the window with her finger, kind of, and he's like, "There's nothing out there for you," which is like supposed to like hint that he's like controlling and like keeps her in the house or something, I guess. But and he's like, trying to be all sweet on her, and also you can see it's not hidden at all that what comes up in a few seconds later, he's wearing this bizarre. I was like, why
Yes.
is he wearing
Rope harness
Why is
thing,
he
yeah.
wearing like Japanese bondage fetish gear right now? He has all these fucking elaborate ropes tied around his like
Shambori.
torso, and she's like, whatever, like you're a Libra, and like he's like what's that supposed to mean? He's like, and I have the line right here.
I don't know
Pause.
nothing about that. I don't know nothing about that gay shit. What are you talking about?
She goes, well, your meticulousness keeps me focused. And he's like,
Okay.
I'm meticulous?
Yeah.
I'm meticulous. How? Like a clown?
You can be particular. I'm like reading it right now.
Yeah.
And then she goes, why do you listen to that crap? And then he turns around and this bottle appears out of nowhere, this giant bottle of whiskey or whatever. And he just like takes straight to the dome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. The way it snaps out of nowhere.
Punches right past her face and like almost shatters this like glass.
The
of
glass
this, like,
house.
$20
It's a glass
million
house that they live in.
penthouse.
Oh.
Yes, they live in a literal glass house.
I get it now. It's symbology.
And then for some more subtle symbolism, his fetish ropes bind to her fetish ropes, which are now revealed to be on her body, and they start doing this like dance where they're like tangled together like by an umbilical cord. And yeah, another music video breaks out. She like cuts the cord loose, more subtle symbolism, and so on.
Yes. From there, this is where we get to the actual astrology kingdom with the representations of all of the astrological signs, which includes Jane Fonda,
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I
Post
got the
Malone.
list.
What's that?
Neil deGrasse.
I just said I've got the list if we need it.
Yeah.
Sure. We can get there. I guess, yeah. Go through the list of all the astrological signs.
Okay, so Jane Fonda, and I was gonna say, speaking of keeping it tight,
Yes. That's
without
a G
looking it up,
That is a G
without looking it up, guess how old Jane Fonda is?
She's
I gotta-
got to
just
be.
wild
She's
guess.
got to be 70 by now.
Okay, I was gonna say J-Lo's 56 in this film. Jane Fonda's gotta be 70. I'm gonna say 77, 78.
I'm gonna say
Well,
75.
you're proving my point that she's keeping it tight, man, because she is 86 years old.
Wow.
Octogenarian.
She's older than Biden.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, older than Biden.
She could be president. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when I see her, I stand at attention. So yeah, she could definitely.
Exactly.
It is the youngest looking old person I think ever.
Right.
I mean, I can't think of another example, but
Yeah.
Anywho, so she plays Sagittarius, Trevor Noah, everybody's favorite non-committal shit lib, plays
Everyone's favorite failed host of the Daily Show. They had to bring Jon Stewart back because you're so bad.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna talk about that shit. Well,
Yes.
no,
Yeah.
it's sidetrack,
Later.
but
Yeah.
later, another time. Someone I'd never heard of, probably because I'm old. Kim, how do you say her last name?
Petrus.
Petrus.
I don't know who that is either.
Apparently, some German
Kim
singer.
Petrus. I don't think she's German,
Plays-
but yes.
No, she
European.
is. I looked it up.
Oh, okay.
It says she like
pop singer.
she learned English from like watching MTV or some shit.
That makes sense.
All I kept thinking though, every time they showed her, was that she reminded me of Darcy, the bassist of the Smashing Pumpkins. So again, old head thing to say.
Sure, I could
she
maybe see that. She's
she
pretty
plays
decent.
Virgo. I
She's
mean,
got
like
some good
a better
songs.
looking version, I guess. But,
Yeah.
and whatever. She's Virgo. Post Malone, a guy that I cannot stand. I don't care what anybody says.
Same.
It sucks.
I like him. I like that he's representing my astrological sign, so we're good.
He does.
Yeah.
He play Leo,
Yeah.
and really tried to focus in on him too as like the comic relief of this council of people.
Kind of, yeah.
I think a lot. Like he's just making lots of like horny double entendres, like really bad ones, and then like
Fair.
he's drinking an unspecified drink a lot, which I think is supposed to allude to his substance problems in real life. Is
Him
what I
being
assumed.
cool. It's supposed to be that he's cool, he's a cool guy, and everyone likes people who have fun and party. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's like all sober now, right? But I don't
Now,
know. Anyway,
but he's used to be fun.
Keke Palmer, who I only really know from Nope,
Yeah.
a movie that I liked
Same.
and I thought she was good in.
She from Love and Hip
I
Hop?
think she's a Scientologist, by the way.
Yeah.
Dang,
I think she
that's
is.
stupid. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But well, it's always sad to hear that someone's a Scientologist, no matter what. She plays
worse.
my sign, Scorpio.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Which, but you know, whatever. I'm not going to get into the fucking astrology.
No, don't.
Sophia Vergara, Cancer. She's got cancer in the movie, folks. Haha.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lewis, who, when I was just reading the names of the cast before when we talked about this, I was like, oh no, is that like indie darling, former child actress Jenny Lewis? I hope not. And it wasn't. It's some other very popular actress that I don't really know that well. Another guy I don't really know that well either. Jay Shetty plays Ares. Do you guys know who the fuck that is?
No.
Can't think of it. No.
Yeah. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
There he is.
Yeah.
Love him.
Maybe the best worst part of the movie.
Yeah.
Movie, quote in quotes. Plays
Yeah.
Taurus. I don't know how to say this person's name.
Sadhguru?
I think he is like a real yogic person, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what Sadhguru.
That's a lot of that is a House
Sadhguru.
of Cards. But yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. He plays
I don't know
Pisces.
what that is either. Where's Capricorn?
You know, I
didn't have-
thought. Actually, never mind. I don't know about astrology. I was going to say something about astrology, but I don't. Really
I only know Capricorn because I don't believe in that stuff, but I know that that's my birth month, so that's the only reason I'm noticing that it's not represented. I find that interesting.
Oh yeah, they don't have all of them, do
No,
What the hell?
They have to, right?
no, I'm looking at IMDb.
they? No, you're
They're
right.
not there.
Huh.
Unless IMDb
I mean, unless
missing.
they're just. You'd think they'd list them all in the same sort of block together.
Yeah.
Because they. Yeah. Weird.
So, what do we think about the cutaway scenes with astrology representations?
It's stupid. It's stupid, and I hate it.
They're trying so hard to be clever in the screenplay. They do this whole thing where, like, they finish each other's sentences a lot.
Yeah.
And there's this whole dynamic between Keke and Post Malone, Keke Palmer and Post Malone, where she's basically telling him to stop being horny and, like, shut up. And that's supposed to be fun, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just looked it up, and Capricorn and Aquarius are both not shown.
That's it. That's interesting.
I wonder if there's like a deep reason, or
There
if
might
it's
be a
just
reason to it,
laziness.
but who knows?
Wait, maybe that's Ben and Jen's respective signs.
Maybe they ran out of budget.
I'll do the research here,
Okay.
They couldn't afford all the
very-
signs. They could only afford.
and
the
I can tell you
lines.
right now that they're not. It's not because Jen is she was born in July, and it shows here that Capricorn to Aquarius is from December to February. So
Maybe she hates her parents, and
Sure.
those are. I don't know.
yeah, and
I mean,
then
the
Ben is in August, so he would be Leo, and yeah,
Yeah.
so-
Like Post Malone.
yeah.
Also the one drinking. Trevor Noah is a big fucking like nothing in this. I kind of
Yeah.
thought he might do more cringy shit, but like obviously the most cringe shit is, I mean, obvious to be Neil deGrasse Tyson going off.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very stupid.
Mhm.
I agree.
And yes, they're like, their whole thing is that they're like 100% focused on this one human on Earth,
Right.
artist, as she's called in the movie, I guess, J-Lo herself.
I feel like this was their one opportunity to have like some levity, and I feel like they kind of missed the mark on that. You know,
They tried levity a bunch of times because they try it with the friend group, which is also named.
that was cringe-inducing, dude.
Yeah.
This ties into slightly.
Oh yeah, this
very
is like kind of
slightly.
skipping into the next scene with like
Well, I was
there's
going
a
to say this ties
proposal.
into
Oh, good.
just the movie that was covered on the previous episode of this podcast, Orion and the Dark, where a bunch of the characters are just named like concepts, like
Right.
dark, light, unexplained noises, and all that. But that was like cute kids movie. And this, so like all of her friends are credited as the cynic / Mike. The lover, the quiet one, the realist, the idealist, the fighter, the new guy.
Yeah, I like how everybody in this movie is an archetype because she couldn't bother to have like more fleshed out.
Right. They
three-dimensional
don't flesh
characters. Yeah.
anything out.
No.
So yeah. So
Archetypes.
from there, like I said, speaking of that concept of everything, or I guess just speaking of the friends group, the next thing is like she's getting proposed to. The astrological signs are like, oh no, not this. She can't be doing this. We told her she needs to take care of herself and all that. And then, yes, she says yes. And then they go into the wedding stuff scene, and then the friend group shows up. And this is the weird part. It felt like they did a really bad job of shocking. They did a really bad job on the movie. From the wedding, where it felt like they were at one wedding. And then they transitioned to a different wedding, and they had a second person. But then it just turned into like all three grooms at the same wedding.
Yeah.
It was like, it felt like they were setting up that they were going to do one wedding with one groom, another wedding with another groom, and then a third wedding with a third groom. But instead, they did one wedding, a second wedding, and then all three at the same.
Yep.
And I was like, what the?
I mean,
yeah.
I hate to go to the mat for this movie in any way, but I can sort of see that as a stylistic choice.
It was a stylistic choice, but it was a confusing stylistic choice.
But if they're trying to represent that she's just kind of like going from one to the next, like so kind of like rapidly, and that it's the same cycle over and over, that like why would the weddings themselves like really look any different? So like, they're just all kind of interchangeable. These three interchangeable guys who also have, I think, oh no, their names are just husband 1, husband 2, husband 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I agree with that, but that's why it should have just been all the same beginning to end. But it felt like they went from wedding 1 to wedding 2, and then that was it. But you have 3 husbands. You see what
and then,
like, you get my point?
It was confusing.
Yeah, but
they should have just been one wedding. They should have just had it be one wedding.
Or they should have made it more obvious that they were, or they should have made it more obvious by differentiating each wedding somehow visually or something. Yeah. Exactly.
Sure,
but they
didn't.
didn't.
I'm with Josh that I like the idea of it having all of it look the same, but they shouldn't have had it switch from one to 2. Like that was the thing. It should have just been one.
What was the point of that?
I see what you're saying.
Well, what was the point?
I guess I didn't even notice that because like it's by this point it's just into music video mode, and it's like there are at least 2 songs in this movie that are just like a celebration of the idea of weddings, it seems like, more than anything. And including this first one where it's just like the lyrics are just like, it's so fun.
I like
planting the flowers. Like,
I love
that first dance, the cake, and all this shit. And then more subtle symbolism when they cut that wedding cake. You best believe that knife's going right between the bride and groom on the top,
just
splitting them in half.
Yeah, you're in love until that moment, and then now you're on 2 different sides. But yeah.
All right,
then obviously she jumps out of the wedding. She jumps back into therapy. Go.
This first wedding song, I wasn't sure. I'm just this had the funniest lyrics to me. I think the chorus is basically,
You know I can't get enough. I love that shit. You know I can't get enough. You love that shit. You know I can't get enough. You love that shit. Can't get enough. You know I can't get enough. I love that shit. You know I can't get enough. You love that shit. You know I can't get enough. You're that shit. Can't get enough of you.
you know, I can't get enough of that shit. I love that shit. But like all the lyrics before that are just like, weddings are fun and magical and beautiful, and then suddenly she's just like, give me that shit. I love that shit. I love that wedding shit. It's like it gets like so horny and like, you know, suddenly.
I like it.
I love it. That part was getting a little bit of an out loud chuckle for me.
Yeah.
But yes, then we do move on to something
Cut
else.
out instantly to or couples therapy with all three husbands, and it all goes the same way. And, and it's funny because it's like, if you've ever been to therapy, you know that you don't do couples therapy with your personal therapist, right? And it's always just Joe. It's always the same there. So it's like, you're not actually, you wouldn't, you wouldn't, number one, he's not a therapist. That is Fat Joe the rapper that we all know. He's a Puerto Rican man. He's had lap band surgery, sure, but he doesn't know matters of the brain. So yeah, like that's crazy. That's just like ridiculous. And all of her husbands are signing on to like, yeah, I'll go to couples therapy with your therapist who's been with you through multiple other husbands. Of course. Like, why would I not?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So that's all very healthy.
I also wonder if the Adidas Corporation kicked in some money to this movie.
Sure,
because
probably.
In that scene, she's wearing a shirt that has like, it's just covered in like multicolored Adidas logos.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I didn't think anything then, but then later in the film, I saw at least one more time where it was like a very in your face like Adidas outfit or something. But anyway,
yeah, and then they do some weak like breakup scenes where she's walking out and around.
Right. They try to do the same thing as the wedding thing, where it's like it's the same. She's wearing the same shirt, you know,
right.
In the same skinny fat Joe therapy office, and they just like cut back and forth between these three guys, and she's just like, "You don't get me, you don't love me, blah blah blah," and then we go back to the wacky characters in the sky.
Yes, that was the next thing I wanted to talk about. Was we talked about Kim Petras earlier? We mentioned her, but I got to give the shout out. You talked about she's German. Got to give the shout out to the German milkmaid because she got some big old natties on her, right? I like Kim Petras's music. You didn't even know who she was, but I like her songs. But yeah, she's got.
I just kept thinking she looked like Darcy from the.
She's got some jugs, man.
Smashing
Again, they're
Pumpkins.
natural. They're big natties. They're hanging heavy. They are definitely some heavy hangers.
I mean, I may be losing my cis hetero man cred here, but I honestly didn't notice.
You didn't notice how heavy those hangers were?
I was too busy jacking off to Jane Fonda.
That's fair. I won't blame you for that. I'm definitely there with you, you know. But like I said, I'm a fan of her music, but don't really look at her. And I was like, you know, she's got a set. She got a pair. From there,
it's so funny how you were so urgently like, that was the next scene I was really itching to get to. It's like,
yeah,
you
gotta talk about
her cans.
and then from there, who cares? And then we get the even worse party boy rebound boyfriend that the friends are all like, you're just having fun with him, and this is where she really gets into it. It's like, he's drunk and he's partying.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think I think it's her birthday. I don't know. Who cares? She's wearing a leopard print coat. The guy is drunk. The guy is
bad drunk acting all around from J-Lo as well.
Actually, like clearly gay model man drops a gun out of his pants. And it's like, oh, everyone chill. Okay, sisters, we have to chill here. And not
they say it's a toy gun.
Hunt. I'm serving I'm gonna I'm gonna pop a cap in your ass. Like this guy's vibe is just like so off for trying to be a thug man. It's just not working. Yeah.
Yeah, he says, I have a license, and then J-Lo says it's a toy gun, and also this, I guess, gay model man, as we'll keep calling him,
Yes.
he's totally not put out by the idea that he should leave, so he's just about to fuck J-Lo, but he's like, no, it's good, I'll leave, your friends are right.
I'm just gonna go. Not me.
She's like,
That could never be
begging
me.
him to stay.
No. I would
Yeah.
literally have shot all of her friends. It would be like, you ever seen the Steve Harvey bit where he's talking about killing kids in Iraq? He's like, blah, 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 I'm gonna kill all the children. That's Steve Harvey, everyone, the host of Family Feud. That would be me shooting everyone to be able to fuck 80-year-old Jennifer Lopez. If I had a gun on me and there was a group of people telling me to leave, and then there was also Jennifer Lopez who was like, fuck me in the ass, I'm killing everyone around us so that I
gun
can...
in one hand, half drunk bottle of vodka in the other. Yeah. It's going down.
Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's go fuck. That's me. That's me with Jennifer Lopez. Yes.
And so her fucking just could not be more obnoxious group of friends. Like this turns into the intervention, and it's just like, who the fuck has this kind of group of friends that all just show up to be like,
and they're all the same person.
This guy's bad for you. It's like they hadn't even known of this person before. She's like, basically trying to say, like, we're just having fun. That's when the sex addict word gets thrown around. She also says, I'm the most monogamous of all of you. And then she starts pointing out all of their flaws, which
that was pretty sick.
Was kind of funny in a dumb way. Like, oh yeah, this brings us back to the perplexing scene at the first wedding.
Yeah.
Where the one friend is just like putting plates like down her pants and shit to like steal stuff. So it's like, okay, I guess that's establishing that was put there so that in this intervention scene,
right,
J-Lo could go, and you klepto, shut the fuck up, or whatever she says.
Right. That was literally only in there for a stupid joke in the moment, and then also to lead to this.
They're like, what's another funny addiction? Kleptomania.
Yeah. Well, okay. What's the funniest mental retardation we can come up with? Let's put that in here.
Someone who steals tiny plates from a wedding.
Yeah.
So then it pops to Joe. She's in therapy with Joe, and Joe is like, "What do you think about the intervention?" So he was in on it. Like he helped them put it together, which would be realistic. Your therapist, if you had a therapist, he would be involved in setting up an intervention. But it was just very funny to be like, the therapist cuts in and he's like, and how did you like your intervention? Was it good? Was it a good one? Did you think it was a good intervention? And then,
I mean, I think maybe I assumed that before cutting to that part of the scene, she had maybe been telling him about the intervention, but either way,
but either way, and then on top of it, the idea that in the same session that you're talking about your friends giving you an intervention, you have the alarm go off and it abruptly go like, that's our time, and then instantly pick up your phone to talk to your wife. That was so sick. That was just like, this is the best therapist who's ever lived. He's just like, yeah, alarm hits, that's an hour, you're done, fuck off, we'll talk next week. Okay. Oh yeah, what's up, girl? And then he's not even like normal. He's not even like serious. As soon as he picks up the phone, he's like, now I'm in Fat Joe mode, and he's like, yeah, bitch, hey, I'm gonna make that pussy talk. I'm that bedroom bully. Let me, hey, put your pussy on the phone. Put your pussy on the phone, girl. I'm trying to hear that shit. Like, go.
that's so much funnier than what really happens, because the reason he's whispering is because it's like the wife is like nagging him about like, are you still talking to that bitch? Like she's like jealous. And
Right.
he's like, I told you it's not a big deal. But like, I was just thinking, this is Fat Joe's lean back school of psychiatry.
Yes. Yes, it is. But yeah, I just love that he picks up the phone and he's doing the weird conversation, and then he's like writes a note on the paper and hands it to her. That was really good. It's like, and it said like, after as if they've been doing therapy all this time through 3 husbands and everything. This is the first time he's brought it up. He writes it on a note and he's like, "Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous."
Right.
Which is so good. It's so good. This man has been with you for decades at this point. You cannot get married 3 times in a couple of years, right?
Right. My only thought was when he started writing something, I'm like, oh, this is like a classic therapy scene trope. Like he's writing a script. Like that wouldn't have really made sense either. But I thought she was gonna like open it and just be like, I told you, no meds or something. Like that's where I thought it was going, and like good misdirect, because where it went was even fucking dumber, as you explained. But also worth pointing out, for some reason she's wearing a T-shirt that says "Endangered Species." I don't know what the deeper meaning of that is. Maybe it's like being monogamous,
right. Yeah,
really
exactly.
believing in love makes you an endangered species. But in that little brief session, though, she starts like going on about like, she's like, but all the signs, the flowers and the hummingbirds. And like, that's actually right before Joe's like, hang on, I got to talk to my wife. Like, I fucking can't listen to this shit anymore. I believe there's a scene where we cut away. It might be this scene where, as we're cutting away, the great actor Skinny Fat Joe, like, accidentally like swings his arm back and is like knocking over what is obviously a very fake looking clock. But they cut it. They cut it right before it falls over. It was a very small thing that for some reason I noticed.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. And
it just made him look like the bumbling lean back therapist that he is even more.
You've heard of lean in, ladies, but now we're gonna try lean back. Yeah.
Is the meeting the next scene? 'Cause
Yeah.
there's the thing where she's watching a movie at home and then like the fucking council.
Oh,
of morons
yeah.
is, like, talking about how she watches it over and over and over again.
I don't know what movie with the Barbara Streisand movie was in between. I don't know what movie that is actually. Adrian, that's why we have you on there.
Redford.
Adrian, this is why you're here. You're the movie faggot. Name the.
I don't know. I don't
Barbara Streisand,
follow
Robert
Babs.
Redford. Gotta.
See.
You have to know. This is your job.
Could be easy.
It's your one goddamn job.
No,
My thought.
Who cares?
My only thought during all of that was, the hell Barbara Streisand's getting with Robert Redford, and I know I've done this before.
The way
he's
we
uncircumcised.
I've done this before on the pod where I got called out for I don't know, straight man privilege or whatever.
Oh no!
What
no,
were we
no,
talking about?
no,
Talking
no.
about Dax Shepard and
Yeah. Dax Shepard is
Kristen
very
Bell. I was
hot.
like,
Yeah.
I was like, their attractiveness level seems like a bit off to me, and but I stand by that way more with this. But anyway, that's a very petty thing to say, and I'll leave it at that, because it seems like there's supposed to be a couple in that movie. Did we find out the movie?
The Way We Were.
The Way We Were.
Oh, this is
The
me
way
now.
we were never gonna keep a man like Robert Redford being Barbara Streisand.
1973. The Way We Were.
That's like 100 years ago. If you really. Okay, so now she goes to Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. She had a dog earlier that was like a basset hound that she called Fluffy, which was inexplicable because basset hounds are not fluffy.
Weird name for a basset
Now
hound.
she has a different basset hound that she's calling like Buddy or something. She goes to Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. She doesn't know how it works. And this is the most egregious scene of like it's a music video that's like herky jerky, really bad choreography.
Yeah.
And it's like it
yes.
kind of makes sense here because the story is supposed to be that it's like puppeteers or whatever. So like these people are being controlled by her emotions or whatever. But it's like it's just brutal. It's so hard to watch.
Also, before the dancing breaks out, just the most hilarious setting for any sort of support group meeting. It's like the world's largest gymnasium. It's just like this cavernous gymnasium that they're in the middle of in a perfect circle of chairs. I mean, obviously, it's set there and set up this way for the elaborate, well, semi-elaborate music video that's about to just erupt out of nowhere. But yeah, I don't remember like what is said in this meeting, and it probably doesn't matter.
I don't remember either, to be honest. And I just watched it like 2 hours ago. I'm actually just watching it on mute.
Sure.
We're going through it now. Otherwise, I would not be able to remember any of
nice.
this. But I like when she stands up to introduce herself, but then she doesn't introduce herself because, of course, like she is a nameless, I guess, in this movie. But she just stands up and goes, "I haven't been sleeping well lately," and then it made me think like. Because in one of the descriptions before we watched the movie, it said that it was like, then the scene cuts to her in like a insomnia support group. I'm like, is this the insomnia support group or the love addict support group? Doesn't matter. But the first thing she says is, I haven't sleeping
Yeah,
well
that
lately.
feels like an AI mistranslation thing because she goes there and she's like saying like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how this works. And then they're like, they don't really say anything. They're just like, oh, you just talk or whatever. And the first thing she starts out her story with is saying, I don't sleep well, but I probably never slept well. So that's where it's like someone who doesn't really understand context could watch it and think like, oh, it's a support group for insomniacs, but it's not. It's just that's the first thing she mentions.
Yeah. But it also like, I don't know if she actually ties it in with her love addiction problem
she does.
either. She does? Okay. Because she tells this whole story about like, I was so jealous of my sister who could sleep so easily, and I just lie there awake thinking about, I don't know what the fuck she says.
Gay
it's
sex.
Really bad. I mean,
thinking
about gay sex while I stare at my sleeping sister.
Having gay sex, yeah.
Speaking of that, though, there's a fair amount of LGBTQ, etc. representation going on in this movie that feels rather shoehorned into me. But whatever. I guess good on them for that. But it just feels like self-congratulatory, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like J-Lo's writing this script and she's like, oh, wait, what if we show dudes kissing for half a second in one of these scenes?
Yeah. They do that throughout this music video specifically. I think shows like interactions between men, and there's another one.
It's earlier in the movie too, I believe.
With the rebound relationships, there's like lesbian
when everyone's tied together with bondage rope, right?
Yeah. And then they after the meeting dance, it's like I think the worst of the herky-jerky dancing.
The most seizure-y of the dance.
Now they've introduced the concept.
Uncomfortable to watch.
Now that they've introduced the concept of young J-Lo in the seizure dance area, then it's like, oh,
right.
I did not predict it. I would have not predicted it, right? And then there's like, I don't even remember this part with like a fire and all this stuff where she's sitting in the rain at the pool. This part doesn't make it.
She's burning love letters.
Yeah. It's absolutely zero, but it's like, oh, they introduced the idea that like she used to be a kid, which I think is very funny that they had to like, they felt like they had to show you that she was a child at some point. Yeah. Like I wouldn't have known that without them like telling me. Yeah. And then there's
also
go ahead.
Well, as Adrian said, this movie could have been called J-Lo Gets Wet.
A little bit
Yes.
gets wet. Yeah.
She's just soaking
She
wet, like in
loves
the
to get
most kind of perfect, like sexified way as she's in this insanely large, spacious, cavernous mansion.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's throwing love letters into this fire as she's like sexily sitting wet there. And then a fucking hummingbird, a bird that I believe does not like to fly in the rain.
Yes.
This is the first time we see one flying in the
Most
rain.
birds
like,
don't like
trying
to fly in the rain, I would say.
right. Trying to get into her house somehow or something. I don't fucking know. There was okay, we have to mention the character who does have a name. Rex Stone.
Sure.
Rex
That's not
Stone
a
is
porn
this
surname.
like cable news figure.
Oh yes.
who has
yes,
like
yes.
I can okay. Maybe I was like, that's too obvious, and I was like, is this supposed to be like a direct analog of like, they're not going for Trump exactly, but the hair seems Trumpian. Am I wrong about that?
No.
Like, but who are they going
It's
for?
a
They're
weird
obviously
mix
trying to,
because he's like
lampoon somebody.
It's he's presented kind of like he's Tucker,
Yeah.
but then he's very Trumpian, and then also
But the stuff he says is very libtarded,
Yes.
if I'm remembering
yes,
right.
and then also his vibe and his voice remind me of Gary Busey. So it's like, yeah, it's like very,
Oh, really?
yeah. So it's like a really crazy mix where I had the same thing where I was like, I can't figure out what this guy is supposed to be. Like, he's supposed to be like a Fox News fake news thing,
Yeah.
but then also like he
Yeah.
sounds
He's a pundit.
kind of like he's kind of got Gary Busey's accent and then like the face, but
Trump's hair.
yeah. So it's like. And yeah, he's like Trump. And so it's like, it was just like this weird mix of just being like, it's very, Josh, I think you know what this is. This is a fellow Puerto Rican actor to J-Lo, Pitbull saying, I call it politics. And this is a guy who's just serving up politics. It's all of it. It's all mixed in this whole thing. You can't understand it. It's just, he's slinging out politics.
Mm.
The part that I really wanted to relay on the podcast, though, is when he starts like listing things. These like people nowadays don't
Yes.
like talk to each other anymore or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And like the fucking list that he rattles off is really funny, and I just can't remember what part of the movie it's in, and I didn't write it down because I couldn't.
Because
be fucking
who
bothered.
cares? Yeah.
Well, I was telling myself I was
You're not
going
allowed
to
to
go back
care.
and write it down, and I
Nope.
just didn't.
Mm-mm.
But
He says like Justin Bieber, but also like Butts, and then Mavis Beacon and oranges, and
he's like saying things that like people. It's almost like these are the top Google searches
Yes.
around
Yeah.
America. But he doesn't say it like quite like that. But that's what it's implied as, and it's like the one I could remember for sure was like, why is my doo doo green? It was like one of the, but that was one of the stupidest of them all.
What was even the point of that whole thing?
I don't know. And also, we have to say
political
that this character
commentary
is played by Ben Affleck, which I did not realize until after the fact because he's got a lot of facial prosthetics and the wig.
And it
on.
goes so fast too that you barely have a chance to.
Well, and I knew Ben Affleck was supposed to be in this movie, so I was looking out for
You knew
him.
that?
But yeah,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
All right.
Yeah.
I read it to you on this podcast.
I don't care about that. Anyways,
I don't listen to you.
you don't tell me what to do.
In 2012, the number one question people asked was, what is love? As of today, the top 10 questions are, what should I watch? Where am I refund? How you like me now? Why women kill? Will I get laid? Is Europe a country? how I screenshot a Mac in my fragrant, and why my poop green. Friends,
Okay. Friend
So
group,
anyway,
friend group's
yeah,
hanging
so
around in a car. Fat Joe is in her house now, which is again crossing a line when it comes to being an art or being a therapist. Like you have,
they're buddies.
That's the whole point.
He goes to her house?
Yeah, towards the end, there's a part where he's in her house. That is not
her
how
house.
therapy works. Your therapist should have different spaces, but also, like I said earlier, your therapist, your personal therapist, would not do your couples therapy, and he would definitely not do your couples therapy with 3 different husbands. So, Fat Joe is not a very respectable therapist. He just doesn't do the boundaries. But as I said, we teased her. We did the Chekhov's gun. We showed that there's a young version of J-Lo, so she has to show back up, I guess. That doesn't make sense. I really would have I would have known that she had been a child by way of the fact that I knew that she existed as an adult, right? That's how humans work. We know that when you're an adult human, that there used to be a child version of you. I didn't need to get teased. So she shows back up, and then that feels like that's supposed to be the crux of the story now, is that she learned to love herself as a child, but that doesn't make any fucking sense, because as an adult, I don't fix my problems by loving myself more as a kid. That fixes my kid self's problem. That doesn't fix my adult self's problem.
I thought it was about finding her inner child, and that's what sort of sparked her loving herself as an adult. But maybe I'm reading too much into it.
That doesn't fit the narrative, because the narrative is about the fact that she's bad at being in relationships, or she's addicted to being in relationships, she didn't get enough love, whatever. That has to do with her as a kid.
One thing leads to another,
as an adult, one thing leads to another, I guess.
If you love yourself, then you'll do better in the next relationship. They're always talking about you gotta love yourself first if you want somebody to love you, right? Like, couldn't you?
No, that is not what
argument?
RuPaul says. What RuPaul says is if you don't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? That's what RuPaul says, and that is not how it works. Okay,
sorry, I'm not well versed on RuPaul quotes.
Yes, but okay, here's the thing, like. Is the Heart Factory a time machine now? I don't know what the fuck is going on.
No, that's a perpetual thing. That's
she's explicitly, and also I'm not sure that Fat Joe's in her house. I think that
that's
in the
her
therapy
house.
Place,
that is definitely her house.
I think the lights are off in the therapy place. But anyway,
well, no, but hold on. The Heart Factory runs on petals, right? The petals represent the flowers. The flowers represent the woman from the story, from the myth that was told earlier in the movie.
Yes. Right.
So her heart runs out of petals. It runs out of love. So she's looking for that love to spark the heart to get it going again. That's what the heart is perpetual. The heart is not just it's not forward in time or backward in time. It's ongoing.
All the
you know
time.
what I mean? It's
okay.
All the I mean, exactly. It's here. ... now.
Yeah, and then it sends a beam of light into the and then the signs are like she fixed it by making her heart shoot a light beam into us. And that's
they blow up the Death Star.
The light represents the light beam represents the light of her life coming back into her
heart.
Into her heart, exactly. And how does she achieve that? By meeting her younger self and remembering.
Also, the younger self thing, guys, is explicitly said to be a dream that she's relaying to her lean back style therapist.
Sure. But she needs to have that.
This is my dream that I had. Yeah. And he's like, tell me more about that. Well, and then he almost knocks over a clock.
Those dreams are more than just dreams. They're representative of the things that she needs in her life.
So the answer to all of the problems is that you have to fuck a child and then you send a light beam into heaven and you fix all the problems.
I appreciate how hard you're reaching.
That's
for
one
interpretation. More
interesting
than what's really going on.
Yeah, that's one interpretation.
To me, this was just the most boring, lazy fucking like let's wrap this thing up with like a quick moral of the story, which is you gotta love yourself, and she only realizes she has to love herself because her dream child self tells her so.
She also says in
she
the
does
lyrics, she's
Dancing
like,
in the Rain.
"I'm just remembered as Jennifer from the block." She even says it in the damn lyrics. And that scene where she meets her younger self, she's like,
yes, that was another part where she sees like her old friends from the block, and they call her. I just noted that they call her Big Time.
They should have had Jim Carrey in this movie.
Yes,
That's what they should have brought back.
Yeah, they
Jim
should have.
Carrey
And they also
the
should have had David Allen Greer should have been in there,
and they should have also had Edward James Olmos.
Yes,
they should. If they had brought him in, I would have lost my shit.
Then I would have got it. I would have thought this was a good movie. I would have been like, that was good.
It would have. Yeah, it would elevate.
And you know what? They could have George Lopez also. Could have been like, don't get killed like Selena. Don't do the Selena thing and get killed.
We don't know for sure, but a lot of those backup dancers could have been original Fly Girls.
Yeah. Who was the love interest in Made in Manhattan? Was it McConaughey?
It was McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey.
Wait, what?
Remember she was in Made in Manhattan?
Oh, Made in Manhattan.
Let's see. Who was the love interest in that? They could have brought him in as well.
Never saw it.
I never saw it
either, even though that's another classic bad movie.
Ray Fiennes? Wow. He's a little over the hill.
That seems... Man, he was slumming it. What year was that?
God, that
hadn't he like won an Oscar by then?
2000. What year was that? Doesn't fucking IMDb doesn't say.
2011, I think.
No, that seems too recent.
No
2002. 2002.
Right.
And it is Ray Fiennes, the love interest. Wow. I never would have imagined that pairing.
From Quiz Show and The English Patient to Made in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
That's crazy.
Then there's another like joyous music video dance number in the Heart Factory where everybody's wearing sunglasses because the love's too damn bright. Yeah. And the flower petals are just flowing on the conveyor.
And this is where they shoot the light beam.
Again, I am watching this in real time. I'm not remembering all of this.
This is where they shoot the light beam into the zodiac sign houses.
That's what kicks off all the
Oh,
and then they're like, "Damn, she done did it. She already done fixed all the problems." And it's like,
wait, hang on. Does the light beam go from the factory? Yeah. The light beam goes from the factory to the Zodiac people.
Yes,
I missed that.
All
part.
those serial killers.
Yeah,
the Zodiacs.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's the part where I'm just like, that was the point? Like, that's the thing that gets me, where I'm just like, the point of this was just to fix that? Because now they're like, she did it. She fixed everything. I didn't think she could, but she did. And it's like, I don't understand how this connects. And that's where the storyline really falls apart. Like, all the way through until here, I was following it and it made a ton of sense. But then at this point, I was like, I don't get it.
See, that's why people with female brain structures like yourself need a
man type
need a mansplainer to drop in, and that's Neil deGrasse Tyson, because he's about to tell us about how molecules of love and shit attract each other and shit. And then there's like all this like B-roll footage of like nature footage going on behind him, and it's fucking stupid as fuck.
Yeah,
and
but it doesn't make sense.
And he says we're all made of stardust.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No.
He's not, no, but that's like, how dare you quote the great Carl Sagan, sir, in a fucking movie, say, in quotes, like this.
Also, why do all the star signs, like, shouldn't she only be affected by her specific star sign? What do all the other star signs have to do with?
That's not a bad point at all.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if she's a Cancer or a Leo, it should have only been. But no, it's and it's not even all of them either. We're missing two. So
that that part I honestly am going to look into.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense
No,
to
it
me
doesn't.
why they leave out two of them.
None of this
I don't
made
know
sense.
what the fuck happens. Then basically the movie is over, and it's just like she's in some like sort of vague Thailand-looking region of the world that's very music video-esque.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I'll even say, as I'm looking at it now, set design, camera work looks cool here, but it's also just it's just pure cringiness because she starts. This is the second sort of ode to weddings in general song. And it's basically she's fine being single now.
Oh,
she's
yeah,
comfortable
yeah, yeah.
with herself, so she can be. And we find out she's not at her own wedding. It's that one of her
It's one of the
vaguely named
people.
friends' weddings.
She went.
Yeah.
She went single. She went by herself. Yeah.
She went stag style.
And then
She went
she didn't
stag.
die. She didn't die.
It just cuts from that elaborate wedding music scene. Just cuts to, I almost said Pitbull, Fat Joe, just saying "great session," and they're
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
You've done it.
And
You're not a bitch
there's
anymore.
There you are. ... Now. That's what he should have said. That's how it should have ended. I also like that. The real crazy thing about this whole movie is that it got 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. By the way,
That sounds
81%.
Is that aggregate or audience?
That's the
what's
tomato meter.
contrast?
The audience score is 89%.
Whoa!
How the hell did that happen? Is what I want to know.
Damn! Of course she's gonna make millions of
Yep.
more dollars off this
Mhm.
fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
what we really close out with is a egregious "Singing in the Rain" homage.
God.
While she
brutal.
like bumps and grinds with a fucking CGI hummingbird in the rain,
Yeah.
She found it.
and then
She found love, or love found her. I wonder. I feel like it could go both ways.
my notes, the brief handwritten notes I did take say gets fuck eyes for a hummingbird in the pouring rain.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Who doesn't get fuck eyes for a hummingbird though?
And as an overall summary of the movie, J-Lo, so enamored with herself, most masturbatory thing put to video since all the porn that will ever exist.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's fair.
Finally bookended with the dumb thing about the myth.
Yeah.
The myth of
The Puerto Rican myth.
hummingbird.
Right. You know.
Oh no! The question is, she just asks, like, "Have you heard of what the fuck, Teru and whatever?" Anyway,
She could have just done like a Washington Heights style musical movie type thing, and it probably would have been better than what this travesty was. You know, which was like a glossy, video, music video promotion for her album. You know.
yeah, but I guess to be fair, they knew what they were going for. with
Yeah,
this, right?
they did. They're like, we don't want to tell a good story narratively. Let's just do this.
Let's just cash it out.
It's cheaper.
Yeah,
It's cheaper. Yeah.
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 You know what the funniest thing about this is the fact that we all watched this.
Yeah. Because we could have easily watched any number of Neil Breen's movies.
I would have watched a bunch of porno.
Oh man,
I mean, that too.
Neil, I love Neil Breen. I'll have to think on covering it for this show because
I would not mind at all.
Those are actually the kind of movies that I feel like are also really made for like commentaries, in a way. But no, you could definitely talk about
that would be a good series if you and Quentin did a commentary series on all of Neil Breen's movies. I said Quentin, I meant Adrian.
Yeah,
You and Adrian did a series of commentating on all of Neil Breen's
Their
movies.
names don't even start with the same letter. Where's your excuse now?
It's
Who
like
is
the
that a
Biden.
real
It's like
person?
it's the Biden and the mixing up Mexico and Egypt thing. They serve.
Well, there's
same
pyramids
role.
in both countries.
They serve the same
So,
role for me.
true.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they have.
Is
pyramids in the
Quentin
same
a real
country.
person, or did
Yes.
you just make that
He's
up?
the guy who I host my other podcast with.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But
Shout out to Quentin.
You weren't seriously. You
Spoken.
weren't thinking Tarantino.
No.
All right.
No. But yeah, you guys should do that. You guys should do a commentary track to all of Neil Breen movies. That would be
I'd be
very
down.
fun. I would listen to it.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Neil Breen is great. The thing about doing all of them, I don't know, because
Well, there's a lot. Yeah,
they kind of
are repetitive.
no, they're each uniquely bad.
My
in their
favorite
own
one
way,
is
actually.
my favorite one is where all the different bank corporate CEOs admit their
Fateful Findings.
Yeah,
that's the gold standard.
where
I would
they
say.
admit their evil doings and then they kill themselves live publicly.
it's amazing.
That
It's
one,
so
that's-
fucking good.
that is the most beautiful thing ever put to film. God,
Tim, if
it's
you
great.
haven't seen Fateful Findings,
That
at the
sounds pretty
very
good.
least you got to watch that
All right,
one.
I'll
It's
check that out.
Fateful
fantastic.
Findings is Fateful Findings
All right,
is
well,
the
that's-
movie that makes The Room look like Citizen Kane.
Yeah, Tommy Wiseau's
But-
got nothing on Neil Breen,
Yeah, exactly that.
and he's only done the
not
one
the
movie. Neil
madness.
Breen's done multiple movies, so
All right. Well, I'm gonna say that my general recommendation for the week is Fateful Findings. So that's my thing. Link to it. Follow me on Twitter at ROH Dutch. Follow the website at Violent People. I don't. Are we closing out? What are we doing?
Yeah. I mean,
All right.
that was see, I keep wanting to say I am here now. That's not it. This is me ... now. Very similar. Yeah, I mean, like I already said, I recommend in general the films of Neil Breen. I would say if you've never seen any of them, Fateful Findings is probably the place to start. It's very good. I would say if you're not even convinced by me saying that, listen to the episode of the podcast The Flophouse that covers Fateful Findings way back in the day. That's what made me immediately like drop what I was doing and find that movie and watch it, because they're so like joyous about describing the movie Fateful Findings in that episode, and it's pretty infectious. So there's that. I also have to give my negative recommendation, which is fuck the Payoneer Global Incorporated business entity. They stole my money, mine and Jason's Patreon money, and have stolen money from hundreds of thousands, maybe, of people.
what's going on there?
It's a bad company, folks. Do not put your money anywhere near it. I'm surprised they're still. Well, no,
you're talking about Patreon, or
yeah, we have one. It's not in the best shape at the moment because reasons. But like, I already said this on previous episodes, so I won't repeat it again. But just fuck them. Don't use them. Tell your friends not to use them, and so on. And if you happen to burn down their corporate offices, I won't be sad. Parody, etc. Or hack into their mainframe and redistribute the money.
Do the ending of Fight Club only to them.
Yeah.
Also,
what you need is a good chemical fire, right, Tim?
That's what you want.
Also,
what you want is a
good
chemical fire.
Also, our main man, Barack Obama Mandela, is still running for Senate. He may not technically be on the ballot anymore.
But neither is
But
Joe
you can
Biden
write
in
him
some
in.
states, right?
Yeah, and neither is Trump and Nevada, so
Write him in.
So
Write him in.
March 5th, if you're a resident of California, write him in. I noticed that I've been saying he's running for Nancy Pelosi's seat.
He's not.
got that flipped around. He's running to fill the seat left by Diane. I've only got Shingles Feinstein. Yeah.
We all wish that we could fill Nancy Pelosi's seat, or at least sniff it. But we can only be so lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that limp dick Paul Pelosi's not getting it done, so.
Oh, he's busy doing hammer parties with other gay boys in their underwear.
Hammer parties.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
I don't want to know what you're talking about.
He fucked a guy, and then the guy hit him in the head with a hammer.
Yeah,
that's how they do gay sex up there.
There's got to be an Urban Dictionary word for that. Yeah,
they call them hammer homies.
If there isn't, there will be now.
Yeah. Wow.
You got any general Rex, and then maybe give us your plugs, Adrian.
Yeah. Well, Boots Too Big across all social media. Boots Too Big on TikTok. I'm on Twitter /X, but I don't really use it that much. So you just find me on TikTok. I'm on Blue Sky too. As Boots Too Big. If you want to be one of the cool new kids joining Blue Sky. General Rex. I hate to say it, not another streaming service, but if you have a library card, check out the app Canopy. You can stream all kinds of movies on there for free with your qualifying library card. There's a bunch of A24 movies on there. I recently watched Beau is Afraid, Zola, Bodies, X. Those are all great. Men, have you guys seen Men? Oh, we should watch Men.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the movie Men? Oh, God, that's a great movie. The Florida Project, which we did on my show a while back. Yeah.
You know that guy? The guy did Men. He's got a new movie coming out called Civil War.
Oh, is that the same? Is that the same dude? I don't know that.
Alex Garland. He's the same guy who did Ex Machina and Annihilation.
Right. Yeah, Men was wild though. Those last 30 minutes were fucking something else.
Okay.
Anyway,
but
Canopy
divisive.
with the K.
Hold on.
With the K.
Before we move on, what if it was Sybil War and it was a movie about dudes fighting to be allowed to fuck Sybil Shepherd?
I would pay big
That sounds like
money
a
to
good movie,
watch
right?
that. Yes.
I wouldn't blame them boys for their gladiator combat.
Sybil Shepherd can get it. I don't care who you are.
Oh yeah. All right. I guess that's all then.
That's all. This is a good one, boys.
To just close out, as not as I always say, but as Fat Therapist Joe always says,
let's explore this.
Girl, your allegorical dream imagery is almost as tight as that pussy. You doing those Kegel exercises, right? Vaginal rejuvenation surgery? Girl.
You walked into the party like you were walking onto a yacht. Your hat strategically dipped below one eye. Your scarf, it was apricot. You had one eye in the mirror as you watched yourself go out. And all the girls dreamed that they'd be your partner. They'd be your partner. And you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I'll bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Oh, you had me several years ago when I was still quite naive. When you said that we made such a pretty pair and that you would never leave, but you gave my coffee, clouds in my coffee, and you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I'll bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? When I hear you went up to Saratoga and your horse naturally won, then you flew your Learjet up to Nova Scotia to see the total eclipse of the sun. When you're where you should be all the time, and when you're not, you're with some underworld spy or the wife of a close friend, wife of a close friend, and you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I'll bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? Don't you? You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you.
The first voice recording was made in 1860. It was a 10-second fragment of the French folk song Au clair de la lune recorded by inventor Edward Leon Scott de Martinville. But who will make the final voice recording and when? What will it be? Who will hear it?